Well, hi there. You're probably wondering, why isn't there a fancy intro? Or how come our logo just isn't in the corner here? Well, that is because I want to say like last year or so, StreamYard decided to increase their prices by like another $20. Um, I just didn't think it was all that worth it. So here we are using bare bones StreamYard, yet somehow we can still have the old background. I can't change it or use anything more than that, but it's something, I guess. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another edition of TokuTitanCast. I am your host, Davis Madole, also known as Titan Goji, content creator on YouTube. I'm an author now, strength coach as well. And joining me tonight, we have Lily.
Shit.
Well, there goes our monetization.
It's pleasure.
And we have Daikaiju Tony.
Hello.
Did you use up all your prana there?
Are you okay?
I think I'm turning into bubbles. Oh.
I don't think I could hear you there.
He's saying it doesn't matter.
I think I'm turning into bubbles.
You look pretty okay to me.
Well,
And last, but certainly not least, we have Cole.
Hello. Welcome back to the Terrible Podcast. We are back once again to talk about filth. That is what we're going to talk
totally
about.
terrible podcast.
Yeah, totally terrible podcast. That's what we are.
Well, I mean, if you want to call it that.
Hey, Cole.
Hey, Tony, you good? You sound like you were dying, bro.
I'm fine.
I mean, that was a pretty cool opener, though.
Like the part where he hits his microphone.
Did I? I didn't feel like
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Oh my God, he's popping a cold one.
I also love the part in Shin Kamen Rider where Hongo just pulls out a cold one, rips it open.
We are not sponsored by Sapporo, but you know that'd be cool if you were. So.
All right. So
I can only see.
anyway, we are gathered here tonight because we are going to talk about the Shin Japan Heroes universe.
Yay!
Yeah.
Look at me in the center right there. Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
Oh yeah, we put Tony in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Tony just is Shin Kamen Rider, guys.
I mean,
You don't know that yet.
He is. Tony is a man of many faces. He's been Spider-Man. He's been Superman. Now he's Kamen Rider. In fact, I'm pretty sure Tony is the Kamen Rider. And we'll probably touch on this later. Tony was also Rando Yaguchi himself, according to Google.
Yeah. Oh, those were good times.
Oh yeah, it's insane to think that was like almost a decade ago. Did we just age ourselves there?
I don't know. I think I tapped into the fountain of youth, and yeah, that's why I'm kind of like the same as it was 10 years ago, sorta.
I mean, look, death is coming for us all. So, I mean, you know, some sooner than others. So, you know.
Well, when I die, I'm gonna turn to bubbles.
Oh, good.
Fucking bubbles. So for those unaware, the Shin Japan Heroes universe is this huge multimedia collaboration with Studio Kara mainly Evangelion creator Hideaki Anno, also the president of Kara, basically collaborating with Bandai as well as Toei, Super Tsuburaya, and Toho to bring together his Shin series to basically sell toys. I mean, no other way to put it. It's got a bit of an interesting, complicated history where these all kind of started off as passion projects in some way or another, and then they eventually just happened to fall under this umbrella of a name brand. Those films, obviously, being the rebuild of Evangelion quadrilogy, Shin Godzilla, Shin Ultraman, and Shin Kamen Rider.
Yay!
Also known as Daikaiju Tony.
Yeah, that's the subtitle.
So I should go ahead and put a disclaimer is that this episode of TokuTitanCast may or may not be like some of the others. I mean, especially not like the more recent streams, recent as if our last one wasn't over a year ago.
Wow.
So we were all kind of in agreement when it came to movies like Godzilla -1 and Godzilla Kong the New Empire. This is going to be one of those instances where we're not going to be on the same wavelength when it comes to each and every one of these films. Actually, there is one movie we can all come to a middle ground on, but we'll get to that. Y'all can probably figure out which one it is, but when we get there, we will get there. But first things first, we are going to start off by talking about the first 3 films of the rebuild of Evangelion series, as they were pretty much like the prototype to this whole thing before it ended up being a thing. In fact, it was originally made as an entry point for non-fans of Neon Genesis Evangelion, which is kind of interesting because the 4th movie kind of requires that you do watch End of Evangelion and the series before that. But anyway, basically how this all started was Anno wanted to do a new Evangelion story around 2000 or so. In a similar fashion, the Mobile Suit Gundam series did. Yes, in case you cannot tell, Evangelion pulls a lot from Mobile Suit Gundam, and when it comes to story elements, even the music, and now it's production and marketing. Which becomes even more blatant when you find out that this series of films, Anno originally intended to title G Evangelion, like G Gundam. And another tentative title was Evangelion 2, because this is an alternate version of Evangelion, while also technically being a continuation of Neon Genesis. But what was also interesting was that Anno wanted a different director to helm this project. But in 2005, after being unable to find a new director to take on this, the series of films, he decided to do it himself. And the approach was to pretty much do a retelling of Neon Genesis in the form of movies, but with a different ending, which again is an idea also taken from Gundam, specifically the Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam movie trilogy, A New Translation, as it was called. Now, I should note that this actually was meant to be a trilogy in that fashion, rather than a quadrilogy, because one of the original titles for Evangelion 3.0 was Evangelion Final. But, I mean, things change, obviously. So what we're going to do now is we're pretty much just going to go around share our quick thoughts on these three films specifically. We did do a previous TokuTitanCast on Evangelion as a whole. So what we're going to do is work our way backwards, and we are going to start off with Cole real quick.
Why did I have to go first? All right. Well, look. First off,
You're,
I
you're the
mean,
most marketable.
yeah. What marketable? What are you marketable? Hold on. I don't see him selling T-shirts of me. First off,
You're the
okay?
one. You're the A-lister. You're the one that
I am
will
not
come to see.
A-list. I'm like
Yeah, you are.
D-list. No,
You're the
I'm
white one.
G-list. I'm ginger list. That's what I am. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
It's
you're the
stupid.
ginger white man. You're the
Like
everyman.
the ginger white man. Instead of gingerbread man, that's my sub name. No, but so we're talking about these movies because we've run out of ideas, and we're talking
Yes.
about these again.
Yep.
But so back in the original Ava stream, I said that I liked the movies, and the third one in particular was the one that I didn't like back then. After rewatching all of these for this stream, I will say the third one is the one that has grown on me. That opinion is the one that has changed in recent years. But overall, I will say I do like these movies. I don't think it's kind of hard for me to say which is my favorite version of Evangelion. I kind of need to reread the manga to make sure, because I have said before that the manga is my personal favorite. I need to reread it to make sure. But there are changes in these movies that I do like. But the first movie in particular is kind of the most like their movie, if we're going off this trilogy specifically with these three. It's basically just your bog standard remake of Evangelion with some like it's kind of fun to revisit this movie in retrospect, knowing where things went. So it's kind of like you're seeing the little bits of seeds that are being planted to how this thing is going to be, you know, different, even though if a lot of these ideas, especially in the first two movies, don't like really, you know, they don't always click at first until the last one, where they kind of try to make sure everything makes sense in the fourth one. But yeah, the first one's just your bog standard remake. It's just kind of meh. I mean, I gave it 3 stars out of 5 on Letterboxd. I mean, it's just, you know, it's Evangelion. If you've seen it, it's just the first like 6 episodes or something. But like, there's a few parts where I'm like, okay, that's different. 2.0 is, of these 3, it's still my favorite. I think it's got the most like solid pace. The changes they do make, I think, actually benefit the movies to help them like stand out more, even if like, again, it is still mostly like retreading ideas, but they do it in a different enough way to where it feels kind of fresh. And they also explore different aspects, like how this world is different in terms of like, you know, the ocean's like red now, and they actually start like addressing a lot of that. It's not just set dressing like it is in the first movie. They kind of start delving into some of that. And the stuff at the climax too, I think is solid. I think a lot of the changes they made help this movie a lot. In particular, and I've always just enjoyed it. I just think it's solid. I think it's got a good pace. I don't know, it just flows well for me. 3.0 was the one that I always had like qualms with in the past. I thought like I didn't like the way it just kind of threw you into this world, and in retrospect that is a really stupid thing to say, because now I kind of like that they did that, because the whole point is this is Shinji's story. So I get why the focal point has to be Shinji. And in the third movie, it makes sense because he's thrust into this world after what he did in the second movie. And because he made a very selfish choice. And then it shows the consequences of said selfish choice he made in the second movie. And that makes the third movie interesting in that way. And what happens to Shinji, I think, is great. The central relationship with him and Karu, I think, is that part. I've always liked that part, but like in the past, but looking back now, it is really strong. It's the highlight of the movie for sure. I do think there are just some things I wish this movie was able to explore, because I feel like the movie's still a bit too short for what it's trying to do. I feel like we could flesh some things out more. Like in the fourth movie, they actually do explain some of that stuff, and that's great. It just, but in the third movie specifically, they give you this interesting world. And I feel like they just don't do enough with said world to make it compelling in the third movie specifically. The fourth movie rectifies that for me. And the third one, it doesn't work. Well, what does work, like I said, Shinji and Karu is the highlight of the movie. It's just everything around that, it kind of falls a bit flat for me. But, and even as the trilogy as a whole, there are like other things, like even looking back on the first 3, like they made a big deal about, you know, Mari. She's like the big new character. She barely does anything, especially in 2 and 3. She barely does anything. And you know, there's other small changes. Like apparently Asuka is now like a different person. You're like, okay, do they really do much with it in these first 3? Not really. She's basically just Asuka, but they now have to find a way to make the Eva 3 part of the story make sense in the movies, because they don't do what they did before with why am I forgetting his goddamn name? Toji. Yeah, that's right. I was making sure. I thought I was gonna say a wrong name. Because Toji was the original pilot, but then they decided to have Asuka be that because that's the character who's had runtime and actually, you know, time to flesh them out a bit. So they're like, okay, we have to do Asuka now. And you know, the only reason that would work, I feel like, just it's only for a time reason, but also like part of the conflict me feels artificial just because of, oh, we already know Asuka from like the original show and then the movies. But within the movie itself, you spend time with her, but you don't spend like, for me, it's not enough time for me to go, oh my gosh, Asuka, oh, what are we gonna do? But I get why the choice was made. I don't think it was as strong. And also having the dummy system like completely remove Shinji to see anything, I think is such a big letdown of a change, because that's what made the original scene a lot more impactful, because he actually sees everything. I think those are, also him meeting Lilith, in the first one, it doesn't really do a lot. Things. Like he sees it and he goes, oh, okay, so this is why everybody fights. I guess I gotta get in that robot, bro. And so he does. So like, you know, it's a change. I'm like, oh, okay, this could go somewhere. And then it doesn't. So like with the change, I do like that these movies, as they go on, they start getting radically different from what they're trying to be. Because I feel like in retrospect, part 2 is kind of fascinating because you can see the direct like split where it goes from we're following Ava faithfully to, okay, now we're doing our own thing entirely. And I feel like 2 is the most fun for me in that way, because you can see, okay, so now this is where everything is diverging, and 3 is its own thing. And I like how 3 is kind of the complete contrast to 2 in terms of, I feel like in some like meta context, I feel like 2 is like the otaku like fantasy in terms of like, because you know Shinji at things like, no, I'm saving Rei this time. They're like making all these changes. It's like, oh man, fans are gonna go crazy for this. And then 3 is like, okay, well then let's show the consequences of all of that. And then so like 3 is kind of like the harsh like reality of, okay, now we've made these changes and now we're seeing like the problems of said like mindset. I feel like because you know in 3.0 Anno was, you know, he was in a rut, and 3 was kind of like his expression of how he was feeling. So I don't know. I feel like these movies are very fascinating to kind of even just look at like Anno's mindset, because every movie is different in that way. But I don't know. Overall, I enjoy, at least with these 3, looking back on it, I still like them. I don't think they're like super amazing, even though with 2.0 I gave it 4 stars. I still enjoy it, but I wouldn't say it's like wowed me as much as it like used to per se. Like when I first saw these movies, I was like, oh wow, this is like amazing. But nowadays I'm like, yeah, it's good, but I feel like there are limitations with the movies in terms of their runtime. And even going past that, I think the animation is fine in all 3. I don't think it's like some of the most amazing animation I've ever seen. Like, I need animation that has like 20,000 impact frames per punch, and then it's good in my eyes. No, it's good for its time, and there are some great sequences. And the CGI in all 3, I think, don't actually look that bad, even on retrospect. I think a lot of it holds up pretty well. A lot of the direction choices, the way every scene is set up, I still like the way things are storyboarded. I think it all looks solid. The compositing doesn't look that bad to me. Like the first one is the most dated in certain ways, but I don't think these movies look super outdated. Like, but yeah, I enjoy. Also, the music's great in all 3. I can say that. It's fantastic. But yeah, they're good. Yeah, and 3 is the one that has changed the most for me, and I'm kind of happy about that. So, yeah, that's where I stand on these.
All right. Before we continue, I just want to point out that Sean Berry isn't joining us tonight. However, thank you for tuning in. Real quick, Sean. But for those not in the know, Sean is a writer for Asian Movie Pulse, Kaiju United, and Soccer Essential. He does have reviews of these movies through those outlets. So if you want to hear his thoughts, go ahead and check those out. See, we got friend of the channel, Dr. Mifune. What if they added an S and a line through it and called it Evangelions with a dollar sign? We also got Toku Punk, who points out that it has been years.
That's right.
Hey there, Otomura Kami. Thank you for tuning in. And we got bonus commentary.
Nice. I could barely.
Also,
see the comments
Davis
because
was
of this.
lying about Sean. He's not here because Davis killed him because he was mad at Sean. And that comment you just saw is AI.
Oh God.
That is fake news.
What do you feel? You literally went ChatGPT, type something Sean would say, and that's what his comment was right there. So, like,
All right. Tony, what do you got for us?
My turn. Okay, first off, I'm gonna take this off.
It seems Tony was not built for cyber augmentation.
Ladies, he's taken, by the way.
dang it!
Okay. All right. So, what anime you were talking about again? Oh, Evangelion. Yeah, the rebuild movies in particular. Woo. Okay, so Evangelion is one of my favorite animes of all time, and when it comes to the rebuild movies, I do think they are a pretty good alternative to the original, and it's not a replacement towards the original Neon Genesis Evangelion, obviously. However, if you look at it as, well, what it's meant to be as its own modern, separate reimagining halfway through, I don't want to say halfway through, by the second movie at least, and you get, and if you understand Anno's intentions with them, and I think heavy fans of the original who, sometimes aren't too fond of their rebuilds could, understand it within its own merits. When it comes to 1.0, I think it's the most tamest one out of all of them because it does follow the first few episodes pretty well, minus the scene where Masato shows Shinji Lilith. The second one,
it was Lilith. No, I said Adam, didn't I? Oh, did I say Adam or Lilith?
You
No, you were right. You
Oh,
said
good.
Lilith.
Okay. There's like things that these movies say that go by so fast. I'm like, oh God, I hope I got the name right. I don't even remember.
Yeah. So the second one, while still being within the territory of somewhat following the original anime, it does come to the point where it does diverge from it, and I think that's the one where a lot of people could find enjoyment from it because, like, out of all four movies, because it still heavily resembles the original series, and the changes that are made through it, some could see it as rushing towards the third impact within, the framework of it's a movie and not a show, so you gotta cut some things out. But the way I see it more as Shinji subverting what we expect him to do from the original series and actually making a decision that inadvertently causes the third impact. And we get to third movie where totally different. That's when what people think of when they think rebuild Evangelion, dark alternate timeline where everything went wrong. I actually think this one's all right, mainly because it still leads to a lot of questions like, oh, what happened to Toji, and what's the nerdy character's name? He was also like a military geek too.
Kensuke.
Kitsuke, yeah, like whatever happened to him too, like, and you gotta understand, like, between the releases for each movie was, God, how many years? Well, actually, how many years was it between 3 and 4?
So 3.0 came out 2012, I want to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
And 3+1 was 21.
21.
Don't call it 3.1
21.
ever again. It's 4.0. It's 4.0. I still can't get over that title.
thing is with the third movie, you're thrown into this whole new world of Evangelion that's totally different from the original, and yet you're prone to a lot of these questions, and we didn't really get a lot of answers to them in this one. It wasn't until all those years later with the fourth movie, and I think when it came to the fourth movie answering those questions, I think it did a pretty good job satisfying everyone who was waiting. Granted, the post-credits scene for like each of these movies, except for the fourth one, like with the little teaser for the next one, I'm aware that there are some scenes that are just made up for the sake of being there, as in they're not meant to be in the next movie. Because I remember like seeing this one teaser for, it was either the second or third one, Ray is with a bunch of little Rays, and it's something that doesn't even happen in any of the movies.
I think that's
so
the
like
third one.
Third one.
Yeah, so I can understand like someone being disappointed at that. However, fourth one is like a very special case in particular, because the way I see it, Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0, it feels like Ano giving closure to everything Evangelion rated, not just the show, but like his views on Evangelion and all the characters, given that each character or each major character has like a big shining moment to like give closure to everything. And it's really, really great, especially the soundtrack that plays when it gets to Asuka's flashback, or this version of Asuka's backstory. And what I like about 4 the most out of all 4 of them.
Go ahead and hold your horses on that, because we will talk about 4.0 eventually.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Spoilers.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
sorry. I totally forgot. We're just talking about
Tony,
this
we got to
Easter egg.
extend the stream by another 45 minutes, okay?
Oh no. Okay. You know what? Okay. So let me end off this tangent on 3. Rebuild Evangelion 3.0 basically throws us into a whole new world and sets up a lot of big expectations for 4. Okay, and for doing that, I think it does a good job at like building up hype. It's just a shame that it took a while in between those 2 movies. But when you know about why it took that long, it starts to make sense, especially by the 4th movie.
Alrighty.
I'm so sweaty.
I would be surprised if you weren't sweaty under that helmet. All right, Lily, what's your take on these first 3?
So there was a time where I think I loved these all about equally, but I think over time, because I've become very sour on the idea of a compilation movie. They are, I don't know, how do I be less rude about it? I think they're very devaluing of the shows that they are based off of. And Davis just watched 2 of them not too long ago with me. How they can run through shows so quick, and it loses a lot of tensions, a lot of moments.
I just want to go ahead and intervene real quick and clarify that we watched the Turn A Gundam compilations, which blow past all 50 episodes in 2 hours. Don't believe
4 hours total.
Yeah, 4 hours total. Don't believe me? Episode 1 gets like 5 minutes.
Everything gets like 5 to 4 minutes. It's awful. While EVA 1.0 at least has the benefit of only adapting a couple, like the first 5 episodes, so it could spread out those 5 episodes, while also doing a little bit of divergences and shuffling of scenes when need be. I just don't get why it really needed to exist. I think if you're going to bring in these works to the new age, the best thing to do is to just make something new with it. Like, sure, maybe you can reuse a plot beat or 2. Like, There are plenty of like shows that do that all the time. Gundam's been doing it for 40 years. But you can also make it feel like it has its own identity. Evo 1.0 doesn't really have an identity outside of remaking those first 5 episodes, besides it being on film, being for a film, having at least small cosmetic changes, and then having one new scene that is kind of just leaving a plot hole that doesn't get resolved at all. I don't really like this movie. I will say, and this goes for all 3, I love Shiro Sakatsu's compositions for all 3 movies. They are brilliant. I think they're way better than the shows, especially since there's a lot more variety and experimentation going on rather than the very constrained and limited form that the original show had. And I appreciate the new music by Hikaru Utada for the end credits. Utada is one of my favorite J-pop idols, and to hear new music by them is great. I especially love 3.0's Beautiful World. Is a very beautiful symphony of up to the years. 2.0, I still don't really like it. I do really like the ending. I feel like it was the first time that these movies justified why they needed to exist. It showed something that Ano kind of is afraid to do, and it's to show how bad a consequence for a character's actions can get. And it also is mostly visually nice. My problems with these movies do come down to direction, and also the fact that it's Studio Kara, they do not have money. At least all 3 to 4 of these movies, they're outsourced to a different studio for 85% of it. They, for all intents, are a shell company for rights. They always have been. It's the same with Studio Gaina. If you know Grandizer U, we did a video on it. Yeah. The Trigger is the only one of the Gainax branches off that are remotely successful and actually do things outside of the works that they kind of were known for. Like, they didn't go back to Kill la Kill. Penny and Stalking, now that they have it, they're doing something with it now, and it's very refreshing. I have not watched it, but I know that is doing a lot of its own things. It's
really good.
Yeah, there you go. And like, while it will still reference things from shows that were worked on, like say whenever Imaishi worked on Ari Cutie Honey, or whenever he worked on Gurren Lagann. But I just really hate how these movies look so artificial. And I think even with the third one, which is my favorite of these rebuilds, it is the only one I like it because it's weird. And while it doesn't do, and while one of the big problems that these films have is that they set up ideas that the next film is trying to solve, but then it doesn't, and then it relies on the third film to maybe solve some of them, and then it relies on the next film to at least try to make sense of it. They are, for all intents, a very messily compiled list of outlines of ideas that we are unsure what to do with. But at least the third film is a little bit more gay, and it at least is an entirely original story, even if it's still taking the beats of the Kaworu parts of the original show. True. And it gives and it actually gives all these characters, besides Rei, because we killed her, with a little bit more meat to them to justify why they're different while also being similar. Because Asuka is, in the second movie, for all intents, it's just the archetype of her character. And in the third one, they at least try to do something a little bit more with her. And then, like Cole said, Mari's here. I guess it's just Ano's wife. She's named after Akira's love interest in Brave Writing. So is Rei Ayanami. So is Asuka Langley. These are all archetypes in these movies. Oh well, if you've seen an Ano show or movie, you know what you're getting in for.
Well, fact check is Asuka Shikinami. Checkmate. You're done.
Oh God. Okay. Quick question,
Tony.
Do you think 3.0 does a good job at reimagining basically the Karu episode of the original Evangelion?
Yes, I like it way better than the ones in the show.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I think it's more stylistically interesting.
Oh, and the topic. Yeah.
Oh, hey, look, he's got something. Ooh.
Dude, I do have a question. Have you?
Ooh.
I do have a question though. So, have you read the Evangelion manga or not?
Yes.
Yes.
So, how do you view the manga in terms of like reinterpreting things, or do you view the manga in a separate way compared to like how these movies handle retelling and reimagining?
I mean, they're all canon. Thanks, Eva. 4.0, 3.0 plus 1.0.
Which we'll get to in a bit. And
yeah, we'll get back to that.
I don't mean to cut you off, Lily. I do want to interject and say that during its production, 3.0 was actually completely redone from scratch because Ano didn't like the direction it was going in at first by just being compilations of the anime and decided to just break out of that. And I'll go ahead and share more of my piece on that when it's my turn. But I just thought it was worth noting that.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Exposition Man.
Yeah, of course. Just to kind of provide further context, of the production of these films.
Yeah, because he didn't do that before he started this, so he's doing it now.
Yeah.
My overall thoughts is like, if there are good ways of doing a compilation movie, 2.0 is probably the best case of a compilation movie approach that Ano can do. I just before watching all these movies, I watched the Macross Frontier compilation movie, the first one. That is exactly how you do it. The approach was take at least some of the beats and then do something completely new with it. It's a completely different way of watching Macross Frontier without feeling like you're just watching the same thing again. Because by the halfway point, it's an entirely new story. And it's brilliant. I love the Macross Frontier first compilation movie. It's amazing. And I love it. The second film, which is entirely new, even more than it. This is my Macross Frontier plug. Go watch it. And that's me. I dropped it onto you, Davis.
All right. So I actually do have a bit of a special attachment to these films, about on the same level as the original Neon Genesis Evangelion. So back when I was in like a freshman in high school, I did not know how to like pirate stuff, but I had a friend who did. And so what I would do is that from time to time, I would pay him $1 to pirate movies for me onto a disc. He would burn the movies onto a CD and I would just watch them. The movies in question were American Psycho, Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny, and these three movies.
That's a good combination.
I mean, honestly, yeah. You honestly can't really go wrong with that combo. But that said, I do enjoy the first Eva rebuild, flaws and all. Like yeah, it like whenever I'm watching it, I do get the feeling that I mean I might as well just watch the show at this point. It doesn't necessarily do anything new, though. It's funny how we bring up the whole Lilith scene, because yeah, like it because in that scene, instead of Misato trying to talk some sense into Shinji, she just decides, you know what, I am going to take him to the alien that's in our basement, and then try and talk to him. Like, I just think that's kind of weird. um, but yeah, still enjoy first ever rebuild. It's a neat compilation, even if it's just doing the first few episodes again. Now the second movie, I do like more. I like that it starts to have more fun with its ideas, even if it kind of meanders a little. Again, Mari is there, and I do quite like the ending myself. Unfortunately, I am not immune to hype moments in Aura, and I'm going to be with Lily on this one. I really enjoy the third movie, and it's part of the reason why I also like really like Shinji as a character, and obviously mileage will vary. I'm just speaking from personal experience, but I feel like a lot of fans of Evangelion really resonate with Shinji. I mean, I imagine all of us, stumbled onto Evangelion during our teenage years. That's the exact age Shinji was at when we first see him in the show, and it's at a point in our lives where we're all kind of faced with all sorts of like confusion and frustration, while also trying to like make sense of the world, while also trying to deal with more and more responsibility. But most importantly, there's the takeaway of never running away when things get tough, and to understand that the point of living is to overcome these hardships, no matter how minor that it is, because that's how we learn more about ourselves as people. That's how we form these sorts of connections that we have one another. And I think 3.0 does a really good job emphasizing that, as it also deals with the trauma further trauma that Shinji has to deal with. Just being split between Nerve and I don't know if it's Villa or Willie.
Willie.
Okay, so I just want to say something. When I watched the English dub for 3.0, I heard both pronunciations. Someone should probably take a look at that. Yeah. Long story short, because low key, we do need to move on a little. I really enjoy these films. I do think first one's pretty all right for what it is. Second one's really fun. Third one is just great, no matter how you look at it. But
well, you're talking about relating to Shinji. I don't know what the hell you're talking about, bro. I mean, dude, if I was Shinji, if Gendo just gave him like a $20 V-Buck gift card, I would be cured. So like, you know how many skins? 2 skins. So like, come on.
Honestly, you do have a point. Cole is simply built different.
You rebuild. That's what it is. That's the rebuild right there. So come on.
All right, so now we are moving on to Shin Godzilla. Oh yeah.
Oh,
well, this was a good stream, guys. I gotta go.
Godzilla suck dick.
So we also did a pretty lengthy stream on Shin Godzilla.
We did.
Dr. Mifune was there. We also had Yoko Higuchi as well. It was really nice 5-year anniversary stream that we did those years ago. But we're going to talk about it again, especially because it is currently relevant as the 4K restoration is. I don't know if it's playing in theaters at the moment. I know they just came out with orthochromatic in theaters, which I do want to say just stick with the original Shin Godzilla. But
I mean, if you really hate color, you could just watch that. I mean, you just want black
that
and
is
white.
true.
Maybe you're colorblind.
It is true.
Yeah.
Or if you're colorblind.
But yeah, so Shin Godzilla was announced by Toho after the success
The
Six.
of Godzilla 2014. I mean, as we know, Godzilla 2014, sure, it may have been received fairly mixed amongst like critics and general audiences, but what it did was bring Godzilla further into the mainstream. So yeah, why not just start making Godzilla movies again? Although Toho did actually approach Hideaki Anno in 2013 about doing a Godzilla film, but as we kind of brought up, Anno was in a bit of a depressive state after the release of 3.0, as he was also kind of trying to figure out what he wanted to do for 4.0 as well, which, as we know, would get delayed in Shin Godzilla's favor. And in the midst of all this, it was Shinji Higuchi who convinced Anno to go ahead and do Shin Godzilla, so long as the two would direct it together. Other thing worthy of note, and I'm sure Lily's really about to go off on this one. The original draft from 2013 almost feels like a completely different film from what we ended up getting. Sure, there are similar plot beats present, but the presentation and some of the undertones with the film did seem strange. I should also note that this draft was co-written by Hideaki Anno and Kenji Kamiyama, who also did Ghost in the Shell standalone complex and the Ultraman anime on Netflix. And you can go ahead and look up the draft online. I believe someone translated it on Toho Kingdom, and I'm sure Lily will go over some of the undertones within that draft, because Shin Godzilla being part political satire, it's a little uncertain if it was a satire then. But again, when we get there, we'll get there. But that being said, Cole, what do you think of Shin Godzilla these days?
You know what? I want you to go first, Davis. You've been yapping all this time. I want to hear you yap more. How about you go first?
Okay, I'll go ahead and go first. All right, so I forgot how much I love this movie.
I forgot the movie.
Yeah, I completely forgot about the movie. I don't see it on my shelf.
Who's in it again? I can't. Who's in it? I can't remember.
Who is that guy?
Who is that guy? Who's that guy on the screen?
I think Tony is in this movie. I'm not sure.
No, you know what? This image, I think that's Sean. Guys, I think that's Sean. Don't you agree?
Maybe it is.
I knew it.
Might be.
But yeah, I'll go ahead and go first as Cole insists. I will admit there was a time where my enjoyment of this film did kind of dip a little, but that's because watching it in 4K, like in theaters, made me realize that we don't really have a proper home video release of this film. Because right from the get-go, it really pulls you in with how urgent it is. Yeah, we do talk about how Shin Godzilla moves along at this pretty breakneck pace. It's very engaging as there's a lot of tension and uncertainty with the events that are unfolding, as well as the amount of information that's being processed at the same time. I mean, I'm sure all of us have seen the film. We're pretty much being a fly on the wall, trying to take in and keep up with the pace of Japanese bureaucracy and the flaws that come with it. It feels very Showa era Toho disaster film, very much like Submersion of Japan, which it would not surprise me if that was a huge influence, because according to Shinji Higuchi's production notes book, he saw that movie 7 times in a row in theaters.
Oh my god!
So yeah, there's that, as well as the works of Keihachi Okamoto, namely Japan's Longest Day, that really build upon the identity of Shin Godzilla, and there are some other ideas I want to get into about Shin Godzilla's evolution, but I think I'll let Cole take away from there, because him and I actually talked about it a pretty decent bit. Yeah, I'll go ahead, put my stop there, and Cole, if you want to go ahead and pick it up your.
So the reason I asked you to go is because I really need to figure out what the hell I was going to say. That was the big thing. That's the main reason I even asked you to go.
Okay.
So
now I gave you something to talk about.
Okay. So I don't remember the last time I've talked about Shin Godzilla. I guess I'll just very briefly. My history with this movie could not be more rockier than the Grand Canyon, because oh my god, when I first saw it, I was like, yeah, that was fine. A few years later, I was like, this movie sucks, and then like more years went by, and I went, oh, this movie's pretty good, and now I'm like, yeah, no, this is a solid movie. I enjoy this one a lot. I think one of the things I like about it's mostly just through its messaging and how it conveys its information, how it portrays the levels of bureaucracy, the faults within said bureaucracy. I really like that avenue about it. It's okay, Lily, we'll get there. But basically, I really like the reason why this movie's grown on me more is because I feel like the pacing of this movie, I think, is really solid, especially in its first 2 acts. Like, things are constantly moving, and while things are moving, you're seeing there's like a bajillion meetings. Everybody always makes fun of that, but that's also kind of the damn point. It's like Godzilla shows up and he's already wreaking damage, even in his smaller forms. But even then, it's like, we got to go to meeting here, and then another meeting there. It's like, and then it's almost like a joke within itself with the text, which is why I'm so happy the text finally came back. I mean, like, my God, because the Funimation release for some reason got rid of it for no reason, when there's actual visual jokes that the movie is trying to make with all the different titles and stuff that are being flown across the screen. It's like an intentional thing they're doing. But I think the movie is shot well. There's some really great shots in this movie.
For sure.
Yeah, there's some great sequences. The effects, for the most part, it's held up. There's some really great looking effect scenes in this movie, but there's still some there's some wonky shots here and there. I think one of the shots that I feel like don't look great is it's like right after the atomic breath scene, huge spectacle, right? Yeah. It's the part where he waddles up. And I'm like, that looks a bit weird.
That's always kind of looked a little weird.
Yeah. I like Godzilla's look in the movie. It's always been one of my favorites. It's something distinct. It's something unique. The intentional choice of having him basically be like this zombie, I think, was very intentional, and because Godzilla is he's just a force in the movie. That's all it is. He's just a thing that the government has to react to, and you see all of the faults of the government through how they handle Godzilla. Because in the first half of the movie, they're doing everything by the book. Nothing works. Everything starts falling apart. And then how do they beat him? They start breaking away from the traditional norm, and then by the end of the movie, they beat him by doing action instead of inaction. I feel like that's the general gist I get from the movie, and I really appreciate that. And one of my problems I had with the movie beforehand was that in the third act, I felt like there was a long pause after the atomic breath scene. When I rewatched it this time in the 4K re-release, it didn't actually bother me this time. I actually thought it kept moving. I feel like a lot of the things movie was trying to say in between that time really started to work. Like they're starting to give characters a little bit more, personality. Like some of the things they're trying to say actually is relevant to the overall plot. And I guess it never clicked with me before, but now it does. And I know one of the complaints is that there's not like a central main character to the movie. And to that point, I just say it's kind of the point. It's not really one specific guy. I mean, technically there is a guy that we are following, but he's not like the main character. Like there's like 50 other characters, and that's an intentional choice. So I don't know. Yeah, I've always I don't know. In recent years, I've always just thought it's supposed to be about the collective, and that's what the movie's going for. When I look at it that lens, I think it works. So, and the music's great. Got to give it the music. I mean, besides the reused tracks, if we're going off the new compositions specifically, all of those are amazing. I love the new music in the movie. Part of me is like a little torn on the reused sound effects because, some people have given it a lot of crap. Other people like it. I'm kind of in the middle. Sometimes it does slightly take me out. Like, I don't mind it when it's used for like Godzilla's roars or something. That doesn't really bother me too much. Some of the sound effects, though, it does kind of bother me, mostly because I don't know if they put like a grain filter or something over some of those, like on the audio, because it sounds like really grainy, and it kind of sounded terrible in the theater. But honestly, that could just be up
You're
to my
talking about
theater.
the explosions?
Some of the explosions and sound effects, like it could just be my theater.
Mhm.
I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. But rewatching the movie, I was like, wow, that kind of sounds bad to me. I don't know why it distracted me. But
I love it regardless if it's distracting. Like, you already know my thoughts of it when it appeared in the new Bullet Train movie.
yeah, no, like I don't necessarily like dislike them using the sound effects at all, though. I just feel like, and with the music, I don't know why it just sounds like really low quality. Just to me, I don't, unless if they're trying to use a very specific recording or something, maybe. But that kind of distracted me on recent rewatch. But yeah, overall, I still really enjoy Shin Godzilla. I really appreciate its message. Although we're probably gonna get into some arguments about that pretty soon. But like I like what the movie's going for. I like the message. It's still one of my favorites. I don't remember exactly where I would place it in my Godzilla list, but it's still very high. But yeah, I've always enjoyed it. 4 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd. It's just pretty good.
Yeah, I do want to say something about the music. If I remember correctly, I think a lot of those Akira Coupe tracks were re-recorded, but ended up being unused.
Oh, that might explain it then.
Yeah, I know one for sure that was like halfway unused was the Terror of Mechagodzilla theme song, because like you watch the scene and only half, like after the original version plays, only half of the re-orchestrated version plays after. But if you have the Shin Godzilla soundtrack on CD, they have a whole rendition of that one track.
I didn't really notice that, actually.
One more thing I will say. I know some people complain that Godzilla like just kind of doesn't really do much, but I'm also like, again, that's a very deliberate choice the movie makes. I've never really understood that argument. And Shin Godzilla specifically, like if we're comparing it to, the anime movies or something, I will give those movies crap about that, because it's like, why exactly? But in this movie, it's clearly deliberate. And like all the stuff Godzilla does is, whenever he does do something, it seems really important, and it is impactful to the overall movie. Like it feels important. It gives, like, when Godzilla is on screen, it feels like it's benefiting the story, not just solely just for spectacle. So I appreciate when the movie does that. And there are some like editing moments, and that kind of goes for all three of these movies when we get to the other ones. There are weird editing like choices they make that I'm not super huge on.
I know one movie in particular where you.
That goes for all three, buddy. Like for some, in Shin Ultraman, I'll get to that later, but that's a different thing. But when it comes to like these movies, there are like weird choices with the editing that I'm not super huge on, where I just go, why did we cut to that? Like there are moments where I kind of question it, but I think the editing is fine for the record. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just there's choices in all three that I'm not super huge on.
You know what you said.
Yes.
We know,
you know what?
know
It's
what
bad. The movie's bad. I retract everything I said.
Oh my! You caught me. You got me.
You got me, guys. So yeah, next, Tony.
Oh, my turn. Okay. Wow, Shin Godzilla. Man, got a lot of good memories of this movie. Like, well, first of all, the hype behind this movie. Good God, like, for a lot of us, it was like the first time seeing a new Japanese Godzilla movie on the big screen. And this was before it was even confirmed that the movie would be screened in America back in 2016. Just like the idea of a new Godzilla movie after Final Wars, I'm like, whoa, holy crap! This is like the next big thing since the invention of bread. And then movie came out. What hasn't been said about yet? I recently saw the 4K remaster from G Kids. I think they did a pretty good job in it.
Yeah, you really get to see Rondo Yaguchi sweat in 4K.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you get to see that water bottle in motion going.
Dude, I can see the actual water molecules. That's how high. You
can see the actual hydrogen.
Yeah, I can see I can see the atoms, man. That's how crisp it is.
Although I'm not sure if this was because I got new glasses or this might have been an IMAX thing. Whenever I'd like move my head a bit, the edges, like the very edges of the big screen would like be red for like momentarily. I'm like, oh, is my eyes adjusting or something like that? I don't know. But wow, that 4K restoration, they got all the original dialogue, the text on screen. Something that the Funimation version bastardized. Oh god. Oh. But wow. Yeah. And here's the thing, Shin Godzilla, I've probably seen it more than like 100 times before watching it on 4K, and I made sure like not to watch it within, I don't know. I don't know the time between it was announced that it'd be in theaters again and the time it did came out in theaters, probably a month. So like, I made sure not to like, watch it again right before watching it on the big screen again because I don't want to spoil the experience. But man, even all this time, I'm like, yeah, this movie still stands the test of time as one of the best reimaginings of Godzilla ever. Whew, like they made Godzilla into a legitimate threat to the world, the whole procreation thing. And I still wish like there's moments from the movie that was cut out. There's still moments I wish still made it into it, like the scene where Godzilla's like his dorsal fin that got blown off was like growing eyeballs. Like I wish they kept that. It would place a better visual emphasis on that he's procreating.
I personally, I mean, interrupt Tony. I really wish they cut the scene where the Prime Minister is breaking down.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
Yeah, that's another good scene. Yeah, and in terms of the editing, editing and pacing, I generally do think that this is the best interpretation of Godzilla, where he's presented as an actual force of nature, since this feels more like akin to a disaster movie than your traditional kaiju flick, which, I think that's kind of the point of it. It feels it's a disaster movie, and it's about the people, specifically the people in the political sphere, trying to figure out a way to stop this from escalating even further. I think the movie does a really great job at portraying that. And in terms of this iteration of Godzilla in particular, still one of my favorite designs ever. Holy crap. Like, I still remember, like, the discourse when those leaked set photos of the big animatronic came out. And I still wish that animatronic was used, because it's a shame that the Attack on Titan live-action movies were the last true tokusatsu movies. It's like we haven't gotten anything back to guys in suits since then. And I see that right there.
Oh my gosh.
But
Guys, he brought up the movies. We can wrap it up. We're done. We're done. We can wrap it up.
but you know, with or without the animatronic that was scrapped, Godzilla still looks great in this movie. And even when he admittedly does look odd, like the scene where he like slows down right before stopping and turning into a statue for a bit, or some shots during the final conflict where they're basically trying to knock Godzilla down.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh no.
Shocker's got Tony.
No. Okay, well, guys, I think Tony liked the movie. Do you want to just move on for now? We'll circle back.
Yeah. Let's see. Lily in the private chat said, "Shocker got my Tony dog way winning this battle."
Oh no. Okay, I think his internet died. All right.
Maybe.
Got internet.
Okay.
Haven't got no internet.
He ain't got no internet.
No.
All right. Lily, your takeaway on Shin Godzilla.
Yo, they unplugged Tony from the aux.
No, the internet just really wants to hear what you think about this.
Oh,
movie.
okay,
That's what it
okay.
is. The internet really wants you to talk
The
about
internet
Shin Godzilla.
platforms minority voices. So, what is there to say about Shin Godzilla from 2016? Man, it's not a lot to talk about, huh?
I mean,
It was a movie that released in 2016.
Yes,
It's got
many
Godzilla in
such
it.
cases.
No, he's got Godzilla and he's got shins. There you go.
Dude, holy shit, that's crazy.
he's back. He's
He's
back.
back. He's back.
Welcome back, Tony. We missed you. I'm glad that Shocker didn't
Okay,
take
well, before I was cut out because it looked like Cole went out first, and then it turns out it was me. What happened?
you. Your internet cut out for a second. Yeah, that's what happened. And then the last thing you said was
Okay, well, okay, more thoughts on Shin Godzilla. Yeah, definitely one of the best reimaginings of Godzilla to this date. However, okay, I know I might sound petty when I say this. This was like my favorite modern Godzilla movie until -1 came out. Like, and that's not to like diss Shin Godzilla or anything, but at the same time, I mean, I love both movies. Don't get me wrong. I just feel like one movie's more palatable than the other, and like to enjoy one movie more, you have to like be in a specific mindset, while the other one you could just like put on and just have a blast with it. But, yeah.
Alrighty.
Very good.
yeah. All right.
I didn't get cut out, right? Like my internet's
Cole, it's your turn now.
What?
now that the rotation's changed.
Oh,
Your turn
okay.
now.
Sorry.
Lily.
Yeah, Lily, it's time to yap. Let's go.
So I have a very interesting relationship with this movie. It all started when I was a child. I didn't get to see this in theaters. That part's true, but that's not relevant. So I initially really liked this movie. I don't know if it was because I was hot off of watching Ava at the time, because I was how old? I'm not going to say how old I was, but I guess at the time it's easy for like a young Western impressionable kid to watch Shin Godzilla after Ava and be like, This is exactly what I want. This is exactly what I thought. In terms of historical context, I can definitely see why this film meant a lot to the Japanese audience. Not all of them, because despite what the awards and the seeming cultural impact this movie had, this was a divisive movie. There were plenty of people who pointed out problems with this movie in terms of its politics, whether it was because these people were extremely nationalistic. I'll get to that. Or these people were not nationalistic and they were pointing out things such as portrayal and the such. And then some were Godzilla fans, of course. So I'm kind of in the camp where I really don't like this movie now.
You don't like it now, but you will later, is what you're saying. I'm kidding.
You liked it later.
I liked it a little less, then liked it more.
Yeah, you used to not like it. Previously, you used to really like it, and now you like it later.
Always the contrarian, Davis. Always the contrarian.
So, as Davis had noted, early outlines and drafts of this movie were none too. What's the best I can put it? Let's just say that Anno needs to be a bit more of on a leash. So one of the points of the 2013 draft was that it called for rearming Japan.
Oh my god!
Military muscle. It also said that America, China, and Russia let loose multi-warhead, long-range nuclear missiles from multiple locations. There's a lot into this, and maybe you can blame, I guess, if you want to, the Ghost in the Shell ride for this. I kind of doubt that, though, because Standalone Complex does not kind of allude to that type of stuff. So I'm going to get into a bit of this thing called knowing otaku culture, and specifically the generation Anno came from. So to understand the politics of this movie from Anno's point of view, you have to go back to the 80s and the 70s. This is after the generation that failed to change the government from its rather blind optimism towards getting back into shape again. The bubble economy was starting to really pop off, and you could see that in many points whenever you're watching the Showa Godzilla films with all these various industries, like in Mothra vs. Godzilla. Whenever Godzilla destroys those power plants. And so when this generation had failed to stop many of these politicians and older generations from holding responsibility of Japan's war crimes in the Second World War, in the both Sino-Japanese conflicts, this caused a conservative uprising in basically most forms of Japan's industry and in its political sphere. So to Anno and by extent Mamoru Oshii's generation, it was believed that the failure of this came down to the fact that the Japanese did not have a stronger military to have a stronger might. The Americans were to blame for everything that was going wrong in the country, which was not the intent. And most of the people of both of these generations were too busy partying, listening to music, watching export movies from America that were finally pouring in after the ban of the 30s and the 40s. So there is kind of this ignorance that this generation has towards politics. And it kind of reflects into what some of these people liked. Hideaki Anno was a really big fan of Yamato. And if anybody at home knows about Space Battleship Yamato, Yamato is a very jingoist and nationalistic property. I mean, if anybody knows about the Yamato, the actual World War II ship, this was heralded as Japan's greatest battleship. It represented so much power to them. So when the Yamato eventually was taken away from them, that's to signify to them the end. So it's that show and its property are essentially a power fantasy of it being in space. And Anno does in fact rip a direct scene from that show in Evangelion. I don't remember what episode. Don't ask me.
And also a little bit of 3.0.
Yes, and 3.0 because shrugs. So when we flash to now, you can kind of see how this all kind of spears into a head. A lot of what this movie does in its final product is a lot less toned down from those initial screenplays that were speaking of, military rearmament, the foreign nations being these huge monsters that are just shooting nuclear missiles left and right. Pew, pew, pew. And while these undertones are still there, maybe I'm kind of using a bit loosely at points. You can almost feel this kind of divide between this generation and the generation that Anno's trying to speak to, the modern generation that is going to go see this movie, the 90s kids, the 2000s kids. And Davis, having seen G-Quux, can kind of know how this generation that Anno came from is now starting to feel this rift that they don't speak for the generation anymore. And you can kind of see it with the way that Shin Godzilla was a divided reaction in Japan, despite all those awards. There were younger gens who pointed out the problems with the politics. And I think this kind of comes to the head of how a bit too trigger happy it portrays certain other nations, how kind of pig-headed it portrays others, which anybody who can go on the internet can learn that most of these people are not like that. And while this film does try to fit into the format of the Toho disaster film, Japan Sinks, Prophecies of Nostradamus, The Last War, this idea kind of creates a problem with Godzilla. While I do like Godzilla's design in this film, and at points I really do love the highlights of this film. I mean, despite what I think of Godzilla as a portrayal in this movie, I still really like the Who Will Know scene. It is a visual eye candy type of scene. It is probably the most well-shot sequence of the entire movie. And that's no in part thanks to Higuchi being a total master of his craft at this point in his lifetime. And Bullet Train Explosion is probably his greatest work that he's done in this time period. Because if even with Attack on Titan, which is probably his best Toku work overall, I know that's probably a little bit controversial with the Gamera trilogy right there. And Bullet Train Explosion's really veering its head on that Toku point. But let's see. What's a big point I could say? I don't like the characters of this movie. And while I understand the point that this isn't so much about it being from a different culture, because I do have a pretty good understanding of how a lot of Japan's society works and how it values the people as the collective. This is something that's kind of shared in a lot of other East Asian countries. The thing is that we've seen Godzilla films do these type of collective type of ensembles of characters. Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, Invasion of the Astro Monster, Ebir Horror of the Deep, even the Heisei films, the Millennium films. And the thing that these films kind of have over this film is that despite the ensembles, each character feels like a person. And with this film, they are all more or less just vessels of the messaging and themes. And while this film will try to at least give them some sort of humanization, like say there is the one shot where one of the characters is holding up his phone and you can see that he has a family. That's probably one of the only main humanization efforts this movie has for this ensemble, because it's not really trying to do that. And I think the problem is that you kind of need that. Even if we are being flies on the wall, we need a reason to care about these characters, because otherwise you kind of lose a sense as to why you should see these tense moments as feeling genuinely impactful. And I mean, this is, I guess, just how I feel about these moments in general. Like, I guess as a comparison, Japan's Longest Day, a movie that directly influenced this one, Japan's Longest Day does a better job at that. I feel like you can get the sense of these characters being people, and it also is set during a very tense moment, during the end of the Second World War and into post-surrender. And this is something that it portrays really nicely, and it's very accurate because while sure, this is 20 years after the war ended, so it's very fresh. It has that sense of fracturing, that dysfunctionality that the Japanese government had even during the war. The Pearl Harbor was a huge gamble that everyone in the government was completely unsure about. And even afterwards, they were not sure what the hell this was going to do. Obviously, most of it was panic. And the people didn't like it for the most part either. So that kind of makes parts like the sequence in the elevator where Rando Higuchi talks about Japan having a newfound optimism about this event is what led to 3 million lives being lost during the Second World War. To me, that scene is very lip service, and it shows Anno doesn't really understand what went on during the war. And I showed an excerpt from a book to everyone in chat here earlier, is that the important thing is that as you move further away from an event, that's when we should have a more objective lens. And Anno isn't really the most objective person in the world. If he was, he'd probably actually understand the importance of humans in Ultraman, and we'll get to that. And he would probably have a stronger grasp on Godzilla and its characters as a result. I'm going to talk about something I really do like, though. I like the music. Again, Shiro Sagasu, he is the guy, even if he reuses tracks, which is completely normal. Whenever he reuses a track from Bleach or Eva, that's okay. Like, I could care less. If Akube did it all the freaking time, like, Ghidorah's theme is not originally his theme. Godzilla's theme is not even originally his theme. It wasn't even the military marches theme of the original movie. Rodan's theme wasn't his theme. Like, that's okay. I could care less. And while I do have problems with the sound effects being a little bit out of place, it really depended on how the movie mixed it with a new sound effect. Like whenever there's a moment where Godzilla takes a footstep, and it's a shot that was in a lot of commercials. I'm sure everyone can think of it, where we have Godzilla being overhead us, and you hear the classic footstep sound effect, which was a stock explosion from a mine, and it's mixed with the new sound effect, and it helps kind of disguise the kind of crunch of 40s and 50s sound engineering with the more modern stock engineering that we use. That's much more clear and easier to make out. And I would say the explosions are not the biggest problem with the sound mixing. I think it's other sound effects. I think whenever we use the movement shuffle sound, the one that you hear when Godzilla starts turning during the climax.
Good description.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think that sounds a little too out of place. And sometimes the Godzilla roars can sound really old, for better or worse, especially if we kind of already have newer mastered equivalents of those. Especially at the point we get to Terra Mechagodzilla. And because especially when you compare it to whenever we use the 84 to King Ghidorah roar, which sounds much more clearer. It's a lot more obvious how old it is, and how much closer sound engineering was from the 80s to now. That's just kind of a preview thing. It doesn't bother me as much as it really should, maybe. And I think the only reused Ifukubi track that I really don't like the reuse of is probably Batter from Outer Space. I think overall it sounds the worst mastering wise in the movie. It sounds way better on the soundtrack. But there it's so crunchy. Like Cole said. And I still don't get why we didn't put enough time into post-production to reuse those re-recordings, which in theory is kind of one of the easiest things you could input in, especially since the Battle from Outer Space one is used pretty much for its whole stretch of its run, playtime, I guess. And one funny thing I do like about the soundtrack, though, is that for Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 93, it listed as Invasion of Astro Monster main titles B, which is yeah, it does. Okay,
so that's just the US version release of the soundtrack. Like if you look at it on Spotify and YouTube, it'll be listed as that, but like the Japanese CD, it's
Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla main titles.
Yeah, I don't know why it's still like that.
So the funny thing is the Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla main theme is just a recomposited version of that old theme. And that's why I can kind of get why it's that way on US releases. Because it, all intents and purposes, is a brand new version of that old composition. It obviously is played at a different tempo, but it still hits a lot of the same chords. It's like the Godzilla theme. Like it's just a new rendition of it as you go along.
Yeah.
I don't mean to bring up like an earlier point, but it's still music related. You mentioned like the Ava track that they use like 3 or 4 different times in the movie. So the reuse of tracks, if I'm watching like a show or like even like the original Evangelion or something, right? When I hear that track, like maybe multiple episodes in a row, that's to be expected with a TV show. Like it doesn't bother me there, but when it's in one movie in a very similar 2-hour stretch, by the third time, it kind of starts getting a little old to me. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
It
it's
gets
a
a little
different
bit
rendition.
grayer.
To their credit, it's a different rendition of the same song. I appreciate that. But for me, it kind of gets repetitive. And I get, like, you know, what the song's doing is like, okay, the plan's going on. Like, things are happening. You know, it's moving. Like, I get the song choice. It's just, it's always bothered me that it's 3 times in the same movie. And the first 2 times, it doesn't really bother me. By the third time, I go, okay, can we use a different track now? And I like the song, too, for the record. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just, that's been
It's a nice.
it's really a nitpick. It's really a nitpick, but that's always, like, you know, irked me ever since I first watched it.
I don't know about y'all, but every time that track played, like the last time I saw it in the theaters, I just wanted to shake my ass.
But I mean, hey, like I said with GXK, I'm standing in the theater. I mean, like, come on. I mean, you know.
I think we should probably move on, but real quick, a couple of people have pointed out in the chat. I just want to point out how far we have come.
Yeah. Versus the nerds. Let's talk about it.
So yeah, like, sure, at the time, this was like the best thing ever. I mean, for me personally, it was the best thing ever because it came with the trailer for the Attack on Titan movies. But yeah, like, we're basically getting the original 4K home video release from Japan, just with subtitles added in. Now that G Kids is handling the distribution of these films here in North America, but Funimation Shin Godzilla Blu-ray, I liked you for what you were, but I'll probably throw you on eBay for maybe $20. I don't know.
Yeah, everyone's gonna ask for it.
No, I can tell you what you can do with this Blu-ray, okay? Like, look, you know, the new 4K is coming out, and, you know, what's the point of even having... Who needs it? I mean, like, who needs it? Like, seriously, who the hell needs it? Just get the new version, bro.
There. I do my copy, too.
Yeah, and nobody's interested what Davis thinks about this movie, so let's move on.
No, he already yapped enough. We're good.
I mean... I did talk about it a handful of times on the channel, so
yeah, but like, those are old, and that's not you now.
You're old. I'm kidding.
You're older than me.
That is true. But
yeah, you got Unk status.
Oh my gosh, Nines is baby. What? This is.
You got Unk status, Davis. Retire.
Unk status.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0.
What?
I was about to say a 1/3 .0.
Yeah, you got it.
This
Unk can't read.
Yeah, this. I can't read, much like how Hideaki Anno can't count. So yeah, Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0, Thrice Upon a Time. Again, we already covered this in our Evangelion stream, but for a bit more added context to the making of this one, adding context to the pre-established context. Really, all I have in my notes is that this was announced for a 2015 release. It was then delayed till further notice. Again, in favor of Shin Godzilla after Hideaki Anno, got out of this little depressive state and in a bit of a creative rut, thanks to Shinji Higuchi pulling him out for Shin Godzilla. But then the script was finished in 2019, and it was announced for a 2020 release. We all know what happened in 2020. Which
I gotta look that up.
A little virus that doesn't exist. I'm just kidding.
Let's see. The Royal Australian Air Force and Navy are deployed on New South Wales and Victoria to assist mass evacuations. There was a bushfire. I think that's all that happened.
Yes. So Evangelion 4.0 was delayed because of a bushfire, and then it was moved to 2021.
Sucks, man.
Yeah, it's a huge, terrible shame. Those those dadgum bushfires, man.
No good.
Boo, we do not like
Boo.
those.
We don't like those.
So yeah, Tony, you're at the very bottom now. Would you like, or I mean,
Look at this
Okay.
guy.
Oh yeah. Go to hell. Go to hell.
What are you talking about?
Okay.
Go to hell.
All right. So
Shut up. You're just an image. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0. I can't really recall the rest right now because I have a slight little headache. But okay, so the fourth rebuild Evangelion movie. I think I already went over when we were talking about the other three that how I felt like this movie is Anno giving conclusion to not just Evangelion the original series, but as Evangelion as a whole. And I think he does a pretty good job at that, especially when every single character or all the major characters get closure, and I think all those scenes were like well shot. Yeah, especially if it felt like each character was like getting it one after another in a turn. But what was I about to say about this fourth movie? It's definitely the most like visually out of control Evangelion movie ever, besides End of Evangelion. Well, actually, it's debatable on between this one and End of Evangelion. I'm gonna go with this one just because the whole fight sequence between Shinji and Gendo, and they fight in Toho Studios just because of that. Like all of a sudden they're fighting in a model city. That's yeah.
Which personally, I absolutely love. By the way,
Yeah.
Yeah, as both what it represents between Shinji and Gendo at that point. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Tony, but real quick, before I forget, I do want to point out I like the touch of their moves being mirrored after one another, as if to convey the inevitability of Shinji becoming his father and why he needs to break away from that. Anyway,
I agree. I do like the touch. That 80s song. That's a great touch. Yeah, I love that song. It's in the Transformers movie, right?
Yeah.
I love that song.
Yeah, it was also that one movie with Mark Wahlberg in it. That's not a Transformer movie. It's yeah.
I'm an inventor. This is gonna be a game changer.
I think it's a Transformer. I think it's a truck.
No, the best part is Optimus's first line is "I'll kill you."
Okay, but I was about to get into what you were saying, Davis, with the whole Shinji slowly becoming his own father, because I love how this movie in particular gave Gendo like a more fleshed out backstory, and how as a child he was just as miserable as Shinji, and you kind of understand where he's coming from as much of as a horrible human being he is, and it does surprisingly give him a pretty good sense of closure, even though it's not, him being viciously murdered like in the original End of Evangelion. Yeah, and I said, I think one more thing about this movie was like slipping the end of my tongue.
Well, yeah, there's a special request.
Oh my!
Oh yeah,
Whoa. What movie could that be?
I don't know what that is.
I don't know either.
But but between this and End of Evangelion, I like to lean more on this one being like a better ending altogether, and like better ending for Evangelion as a whole, and End of Evangelion being like the ending for the original series, essentially.
Alrighty.
Oh, do I have to talk now? God, man.
Yeah. New order. New rules.
Oh, okay. I make it sound like I don't like the movie. I actually do like this one.
Oh, yeah, you fucking love this movie.
I caress it. I'm like, oh, that's not true. Actually. No, it's not even. There's no physical release that I know of, so it's fine. I'll just hug the air like I usually do and start crying because I'm so fucking alone.
Shout out to air. Gotta be my favorite thing.
Shout out to love the air, man. It listens to me all the time. So 4.0, I haven't before talking. I just want to say I have not rewatched 4.0 since it first came out. So it's been a while since I've seen this. I think now it might be my favorite of the rebuilds if I really had to pick. I think it is. I don't know. It's kind of tough. I like 2 and 4 are pretty close.
He rebuilt
Yeah, I
his ranking.
rebuilt my ranking. I really did. I rebuilt it. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like as a conclusion, it is very satisfying. I do like a lot of the arcs these characters go through, how they all end up. I think it's very satisfying, especially Shinji. I really like Shinji's growth in this movie. I find it very, after all the shit he's gone through, I find it pretty liberating.
It really is.
Yeah, I really like it. Even for all the other characters, this movie does a good job of taking what 3.0 did and then just expanding it. That's what I wanted. I wanted it to just be explained a bit more so I can understand the gravity of some of the choices that were made in 3.0, because that is one of my issues with it. And 4.0 kind of addresses it, because I guess if we're going in production history, since 3.0 was basically redone, and you can tell just by the preview from 2.0 and how it's none of that is in 3.0. It's just mentioned and it's still canon. And that's always been one of my issues with it, is the fact that there's such key story beats that they're clearly mentioning, and it's like it's just kind of happens, they just very briefly talk about it, but it's so pivotal it kind of loses you a bit in certain parts. And 4.0 kind of addresses a lot of it, and I really appreciate it. I know they probably would never do it, but I would kind of like a movie where they actually did show that stuff. It probably would never happen, but I just think it would be cool to show some of that, because some of that stuff seemed really interesting. So that's whatever. That's beyond the movie. But the movie itself, I really like a lot of what this movie is doing. Like when they do show like the village and everything, a lot of what they're doing to Shinji and the new version of Rei, I think is really interesting. I really like what they're going for it. The new Rei's like conclusion as a character, I really like. I thought it was a good send off, and for all the characters, even like Gendo gets a whole like it's not redemption, but you get like a full like it's like a full breakdown of his character and what he and his relationship to Shinji and everybody else. Like you see like what is the inner working of him. But and like Asuka gets a conclusion. Basically everybody that isn't like the side characters gets a conclusion of some kind. So and the final note the movie ends on, I do find very satisfying. Like how Shinji basically rebuilds the whole fucking universe. Like
that's crazy.
I know.
Neon
like,
Genesis.
Hey, that was my Letterboxd review. He really Neon Genesis that Evangelion. Like he really did. Like but I
you really should Evangelion thrice upon a time.
Yeah, they really did. Also, if I was judging the movie off that title, though, it would be a 0 out of 10. That title is something else.
I like how it's just not at all the same as the other 3 movies.
Yeah, it's different, man. It's different.
Different.
But even regarding just like the story and character stuff, this movie looks great. I really think it holds up well. The 3D stuff actually is very dynamic, and I appreciate that. It's not just kind of tacked on. Like there are some really cool camera tricks and shots they're going for with the 3D, and I think it looks good. I do wish there was a little bit more like hand-drawn stuff, because there's really not like a ton, which is funny because I was looking at the credits and I was like, okay, well they did have a big cast of animators, so I guess they're just either down to time or maybe pandemic had a part in that.
They ran out of money.
Tony ran out of money.
Tony knows he was there.
Oh no,
Tony
it's just
was
like
there.
no, it's just like I like how you mentioned like the 3D being pretty good and like not being too noticeable, but I do like how whenever 3D does happen, it's like in a scene that's kind of somewhat personally off-putting, like when Shinji's fighting Gendo and all of a sudden it's the reveal that they're in a model city. I'm like, okay, and it's in 3D. I'm like, okay, that's one way to get my attention.
Yeah,
There's
like
also stock footage in that scene too.
oh my, yeah, there are some reused shots in this movie that were kind of like, oh, that's funny. I've seen that in like 2 other films. That's kind of funny. But yeah, I do think this movie looks great though. I do like how they do like the whole instrumentality stuff, like how that all looks. I think it's very imaginative, and there's just some really good sequences in this movie, frankly. In the whole like last hour, I really like. There's a lot of great stuff they do with it. And even in the first half, while it's a lot slower, it's very character focused, and I really appreciate that. And I just think it's a solid movie, frankly. Now, is it my favorite ending? I do not know. Again, I have to reread the manga to really confirm that. But I will say it doesn't have like, I guess like the oomph that End of Eva had.
It doesn't have the unk.
Yeah, it doesn't have the unk. But like, damn, End of Eva really could be considered unk status. Oh my god. But I don't know. There's something about that ending of End of Eva that really clicks with me. And while this one is more, I guess, narratively satisfying, it doesn't leave the impact that like End of Eva does, because that I can recall that scene frame by frame, basically. But even I still find this very satisfying. I think the animation is very good. Movie looks great. Music's fantastic once again. I mean, Shiro Sugisu, the GOAT. I don't know how the fuck he keeps making bangers, but he does. Yeah, it's just a solid movie, and I think it might be my favorite one of the rebuilds, but who knows? 4 stars out of 5. All right, who fell down the stairs? What was that?
Not me.
Oh, the 4? You give it 4 out of 5?
I gave it 4
Shouldn't it be
out of
3.0 plus 1.0 out of 5?
Yeah, 2.0. Hold on, I gotta do the math. What is 3.0 plus 1.0 do? I gotta do the math on that. Hold on. Shit, I don't know. The movie doesn't tell me what it equals.
Well, you know, they say math is never the strongest suit of college students.
No, I mean, somehow I got the president's list, so I mean, I don't know. So.
All right, Lily, what do you got?
My 2 hands.
Okay,
yeah. So I feel about the same as I did the first time I ever saw this movie. It's very like Cole said, it's very narratively satisfying. And as Tony said, it kind of bookends Eva really well as I guess an IP. It kind of ties this nice little bow over everything, even if you look at the hindsight, it's very messy. I think the first hour or so of this movie is really good. I appreciate how this movie starts off, and if you watched the re-release of this movie, 3.333, don't ask. That movie, that release of the movie included a brand new kind of scene tacked onto the end of that movie over it having nothing to tie the 2 movies together closer. And I appreciate how this movie kind of justified us basically soft resetting Rei Ayanami by kind of giving this Rei her own person, so to speak. I think she overall was the strongest part of the movie. I really appreciate how we spent a lot of time with her and had this overall kind of message of that she is allowed to be her own person despite being a same model as this other person, and that she doesn't have to fall in the same steps as her. She can have her own life, and that's a nice message to have, and it's a great way of approaching Rei as this manufactured clone. And to be a bit of a Star Wars nerd, it reminded me a lot of the Clone Wars, where all these clones, despite being of the same genealogy, gave themselves their own defining characteristics, and depending on how their genes were produced them, they would all have, one would be maybe a bit more reckless, one would be a bit more orderly, so on and so forth. And it that show really humanized the clones and made them feel like people and not just the droids for the Republic, which they basically are in the movies.
Roger.
Roger. Yeah,
You know,
shout out to my clankers.
That's what this movie was missing was Ray going Roger Roger.
Yeah,
No, that's my favorite scene in the Clone Wars, where that one droid goes clanker.
yes. but yeah, locking in. I also really appreciated how this movie further built off of 3.0 by taking Shinji into a new and interesting direction to where he moves on from just being honor projecting on the 70s mecha protagonist to where he ends off in this better place. And whether of him being with Mari, who is as implied much older than him.
Yeah.
Oops.
Ava effect.
Curse of Ava. Curse of Ava.
Yeah.
What can you say, right? I remember whenever this movie was coming out and leaks were pouring out about it. I remember there was a huge drama about Asuka, specifically her relation to Kensuke. Now, in the movie itself, it's not that they have like a romantic relationship, as people mistranslated what summaries were of this movie. I'm dead serious. Maybe you guys remember this. But it was interesting to see how this movie took interesting dynamics with these characters that we're kind of used to and to do something new. I really like what they did with Toji and Kensuke in this movie. It was very smart. And it gave Toji something to do, since we stopped him from getting in the robot and dying a horrible, dramatic death. So it at least justified not putting Toji into 04 as it's a little stupid as the execution of that was. I also, Kensuke being a survival geek definitely made sense for his character, and I appreciate how they gave him more involvement beyond kind of just being the guy who's at the school that we hang out with, because we need to have Shinji hang out with people at school. Otherwise, he's just going to be sitting there doing nothing all day, which he does pretty much all day. And I really and I did kind of find it funny how this movie would also just take random ass side characters who maybe at least had one scene, and you're like, oh yeah, they're married to this character now. And it's like, okay, cool, I guess. It's nice to see you, I guess. I don't remember you, but it's nice to see you. I'm sure someone was very happy to find out that their favorite Glub Shido is now married to their favorite Glub Shido. Those who know. I don't. To be honest, I kind of do like some of the new characters introduced in this movie too, and some that were from the previous movie too. I like how we have a more diverse cast for the Willies. I'm just gonna call it that.
that name, man. That name.
I mean, it's like I think it's supposed to be like Wile Coyote.
That's what I thought.
Dr. Wiley?
Yeah, or Dr. Wiley.
Dr. Wiley.
Yeah, Dr. Wiley. But I'm gonna call it Willie. I appreciated the Willies having having this.
This is gonna be a long part.
Or we're gonna hit 2 hours. Yeah. Wait, what?
Oh my!
All right.
We're end the stream, dude. Just end.
All right. We're gonna put a hole in that. Oh wait.
No. Oh no.
Anyway, I like how fun the side characters of the Willies are. I like how they all kind of have a visually stand out, even if you could tell all these are new characters because they are all different colors or have different shapes and sizes. Davis, compose yourself.
Are we done yet?
All right, Davis, are you done laughing? Davis, lock in.
All right.
I do think by the second half of the movie, it becomes a little bit too self-indulgent. And in the very Anno way, he gets a very roundabout way of getting to the main point that he already made. Granted, I do like the Toku-inspired final combat between Shinji and Gendo. It's very fun. Still drags out for a little too long. But I do like how it eventually becomes more of a conversation over a fight. That's the part of this entire thing that I really like, because it has that's already been said. It dives into Gendo as a character way more, and it shows Shinji finally trying to understand his father and why he's doing what he's doing, even if he still thinks at the end this is not the way to do it. And oh yeah, Mari's here, I guess, and then she's really here.
Well, she's given a little bit more to do this time.
She's given a bit more to do, like being Anno's wife. And then she was always there, like it was Humpty Dumpty in the Puss in Boots movie. Which is a very roundabout of saying I just added this new character, and I guess I love my wife, which is nice, I guess. I mean, love that wife. Not everyone can do that. Cole.
Whoa, hold on. Now.
But you know,
hold on.
that's all I can really say. I love Utada's song for this movie, One Last Kiss. It's a very beautiful song.
It really is.
Although I do like Beautiful World more, though. I'll say that.
Yeah, well, they're different types of songs.
They are. But like, if I'm going off which one I like more, even though I really
yeah.
like both, I say Beautiful World.
Yeah. And Sagasu's music is really good in this too. I think this and 3.0 are him as most experimental until at least Shin Ultraman. Or Dynazenon, which came out the same year as this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But we're not talking about Dynazenon.
As much as I would love to. I'd love to talk about Dynazenon.
As much as everyone would love to hear us talk about Dynazenon, we can't do that. This is my second favorite. Despite it being way too long. And shout out to the Willies.
Oh god. Oh no.
All right, so
I mean, just real quick, I will say you did when you talk about runtime. That is kind of one thing they do over-explain everything, and that is kind of my biggest problem.
It's like Saint Seiya.
Yeah, well, just they over-explain literally fucking everything.
Yeah, it's like 100 billion days, 100 billion nights by Ryo Mitsusu. Don't read that, by the way. Shit.
Yeah,
don't
like,
read
sometimes I wish the movie was like a little bit more subtle with a few things.
Maybe
that's kind of one of my only.
Cut off 15 minutes of over-explaining.
Yeah, I think that would have helped it a bit.
Okay,
But,
well,
like
Davis.
I'm just saying, maybe instead of 100 billion days and 100 billion nights, Hideaki Anno and by extension Mara Oshii should have just been reading Titania's book.
Oh my
That's what I'm saying.
gosh.
Buy his book.
Hey man.
Buy my book. Buy my book.
Yeah.
Oh.
I highly recommend this product to anyone who's watching.
Buy that book.
Here,
Why-
let's
why-
pretend. Let's
why
pretend
would
this is
you do it?
Titanius. Let's pretend this is
Titanius.
Titanius. This is
Coca-Cola.
Titanius Book 1, Fantastic Read.
Yes.
Love that chapter, man. Very good.
Oh, dude, it took me like a whole month trying to figure out that chapter. Like, it was insane.
Yeah.
I know.
You know, but so Davis, what do you think about this movie? Why is it your favorite?
So, you know, it's interesting we bring up 100 billion days and 100 billion nights, because when you look through, emphasis on look through, that book, you do see how much of it influenced Anno's writing, especially when it comes to dialogue. And one of my biggest issues revisiting this set of films was there's a lot of explaining what the characters are thinking out loud. I feel like there are a good handful of things that could have been like trimmed down, and as they were like perfectly conveyed visually.
What was that?
Like the second act of this movie where they're going down that thing. I'm just gonna call it thing.
Thing?
There's the part where Sakura is shouting that Shinji is our savior and our destroyer. I feel like that was conveyed at the end of the second movie. And the third movie also kind of hammered that in without saying, and now we're just saying it out loud. Probably because Hideaki Anno likes Mazinger Z and wants to do like a vocal shout out to that. But yeah, it does kind of mess with the pacing a little. And even though I don't like this as much as Shin Godzilla, I will say this is my second favorite of the rebuilds. It has something that I feel like Shin Godzilla was sorely missing, and that is like the human component to it. Like, we see how these people, just ordinary people, are trying to overcome a disaster that has happened or is going to happen. And I bring up the deleted scene with the Prime Minister in Shin Godzilla. Like, that was a very human moment. I feel like it would have brought more reason to really root for these people. Granted, you're already rooting for the characters in Shin Godzilla, but there would have been more urgency, and the stakes would have been more tangible at that point. But I mean, we're not talking about Shin Godzilla anymore. That was a movie ago. But that being said, I do love how this movie ends off. Sure, it's a bit wonky. You can tell it's clearly unfinished. But the note that it leaves off on, when Shinji has really become his own person, he has his like agency of his own actions. He has literally shaped the world around him. He made a future for himself by himself, while also connecting and helping the people who are with him along the way. I feel like it's very touching. Like, sure, this movie does have that air of messiness to it, but it kind of gives it its charm at the same time. But enough about the ending. I do like the beginning of the movie, especially where we see more of this new Rei, like what Lily was talking about before. The importance of just being your own person, and the way she has like her own arc in a sense, and how once she has kind of fulfilled her duty as a clone, she just kind of goes away like that, which is very, very unfortunate. but it still hits home the idea of just not just the importance of being yourself, but what it means to have a soul in that sense. Yeah, I think we've kind of yapped about this movie long
Dude,
enough.
what the fuck are you talking about?
I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Who are you, any of these people? What is this movie? What is any of this?
I'll tell you what it is, a waste of my time. That's what it is.
Oh, waste of my time.
All right, so yeah, Evangelion 4.0, pretty good. Not perfect, but
You love it. You love it.
I
Admit
do.
it.
I
See,
I
he admitted it.
yeah.
Murderer.
We got it.
But we're gonna get into some pretty special territory for me, because the next movie we're talking about is Shin Ultraman.
Ooh.
Yeah, Cole slaved away at a 40-minute video that you can watch right now that also needed to get re-edited and re-uploaded like 3 different times because Toho kept taking it down. Huge shame, because
Did you say Two-Chan?
Two-Face?
Two-Chan.
But before I go into why I love this movie, which I do want to go first, by the way. Okay, so
Main character.
yeah. So in 2013, Ono submitted a pitch to Tsuburaya to remake The Return of Ultraman as a movie trilogy. For those who don't know, The Return of Ultraman is Ono's favorite of the Ultra series, which does explain a lot when you watch that show and then go into something like Neon Genesis Evangelion. But it wasn't until 2017 where what's that noise?
You talking.
So it sounds like moving a wrapper or something. What is that?
Bro's eating.
You're boring. Can you just get to the point already? I'm eating here.
So it wasn't until 2017 where the president of Tsuburaya Productions at the time, Takayuki Sukagoshi, approached Ono to direct a trilogy of Ultraman films for 2020. I mean, again, we know what happened in 2020. It was those bushfires. However, because of Ono just being occupied with other projects, this one would be directed, even though it would be still written by Ono, this would be directed by Shinji Higuchi. And at the time, Ono was finalizing Eva 4.0 and would eventually move on to Shin Kamen Rider. In fact, Shin Ultraman and Shin Kamen Rider were being filmed concurrently. And Shin Ultraman was announced for a 2021 release, but got delayed to 2022. Again, the bushfires. And I just want to go ahead and say that this is a very deeply special film for me, especially on this recent rewatch. Now, I do have a little bit of bias because not to brag or anything, I was one of the first people in North America to watch this movie when
What do you want, a cookie?
when they played at the New York Asian Film Festival. Shout out to Ace Maroke. Ace, if you're watching this, my fellow Shaolin versus Frankenstein truther, I will totally be down to hang Staten Island again. Just I just don't know when.
you still owe him $5,000 for the record. You still owe him $5,000. So
I did not hear that.
I'm just saying.
But so just for like context, when it comes to my appreciation for this film, the this is also the first movie I watched with my current girlfriend. We saw it on our second date, as it just so happened to be playing in theaters at that time. And one of my favorite things about the Ultra series, which I'd say this movie captures really well, is just how crucial it is that we keep on living, not just for ourselves, but each other too. Like Shin Ultraman is a very, or I mean, just the Ultra series in general is very uplifting, and how we all it expresses how we all have the capacity and power to just make the world a better place. And like a year after this movie came out, I lost my mother. And then the year after that, I lost my father. Safe to say, things were very dark, very uncertain. It was just me and my siblings and whatever like support or foundation that we thankfully still have to this day. And just watching this movie again, God, I'm crying. I said it on Twitter, but I am very thankful to be here. I'm very thankful for all of you to be alive at this very moment. Like, just the bond and the connection that we have with one another, it's very special. And things like this and what I have here, I absolutely would not trade it for the world. And I really thank this movie for helping me really understand that. And also know in the end, and I also know in the end, it's what everyone would want. It's what my parents would have wanted. And as corny as it is, it's what Ultraman would have wanted. So to that, I say, do your best to stick together, because it's a really wonderful, beautiful thing. Anyway, Tony, you go. I'm gonna go wipe my face.
All right. Oh, so it's just us now.
Yep.
Cool.
Yap away, brother. Yap
Awesome.
away.
Oh, but I'm not.
Whoa. Whoa. Okay, hold on.
Okay. It's not that type stream. It's not that type stream. Okay. Okay. Shin Ultraman. Whew. Wow. Whew. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Shin Ultraman.
Yeah,
Okay.
All right,
agree.
my turn.
Okay.
My turn.
Okay. Shin Ultraman. For what it is a pretty good reimagining of the original Ultraman series, without flat out remaking it entirely. I do think Shin Godzilla does a better job at reimagining Godzilla in the contrast, because the original Ultraman is a serialized TV show with monsters of the week. And in terms of how it handled it, I think it did it pretty well, not as good as the movie we're going to talk about after. But in terms of the characterization, top notch. Like, even though they're obviously different characters from the Silent Patrol from the original show, I think Shinji Kamina really is like the epitome of what Ultraman is and who he should be, especially from like his journey from trying to figure out what is it like to be human to in the end understanding what it's worth to be a human. I think it all works out in the end. And in terms of like all the kaijus and aliens, I think the movie did a pretty good job at reimagining them in a way that made him feel connected in a sense, so you can understand why all these quote unquote monsters of the week is happening, especially towards the end with Mephius and the Ultraman Zoffy and Zeton. Yeah, and overall, Shin Ultraman, out of the live action Shin movies, because Evangelion is his own beast entirely.
Yeah.
Out of the live action Shin movies, I do like it a bit more than Shin Godzilla. I'll leave it at that, because like it does a better job at reimagining Ultraman as a whole than what Shin Godzilla did with the original Godzilla. And I still think Shin Godzilla did a pretty good job reimagining the nuclear themes of the character. But with Ultraman, Shin Ultraman elevated it to like a whole new level.
Yeah,
Okay,
that was good.
well,
Very well said.
I'll go. Well, so two things to boot. One, anything I'm going to be saying after what Davis just did is going to make me look like an asshole.
Oh my god!
Because I'm just the sarcastic dipshit who gets on this damn thing. So whatever I'm going to say, it's going to be clipped forever, and I'm going to be an asshole. And you know what? That's fine. That's been my nickname
Right.
since I got
Everyone everyone get the clip ready on YouTube.
And also, second, Tony saying this is better than Shin Godzilla. He's fucking stupid. That's why he's below me. That's why.
Go to hell, man!
Hey, I'm sorry. Who's higher on the totem pole, bro? It's clearly me right here. No, but in all seriousness, no, I do like Shin Ultraman. I think it's a solid movie. I personally still have Shin Godzilla over it, but that is not to disservice this movie. I think it's perfectly good for what it is. I really like the structure of the movie. It has a great pacing throughout the entire movie. Like no scene feels like it's going too long or too short. It's got a great pace to it. With that being said, though, the editing problems that I did say in Shin Godzilla kind of rear its ugly head, especially in the first 15 minutes or so. This movie is very weirdly edited in its first 15, 20 minutes. But after that, it gets a lot better. So I think this is just a me thing.
But the opening, that's just basically a reimagining of Ultra Q. That's like the most kick-ass thing ever.
Yeah, I mean, I like PowerPoints too, and lecture. Yeah, that's cool too. No, I'm just kidding. It's not so much. No, it's not the Ultra Q part. It's after the Ultra Q part. It's with Naranga and Gabora. Those sections to me are weirdly edited. I don't know why. It's more of a personal thing, but I really like the characters. I think all of them are great. The Science Patrol in this movie in particular, I think all of them stand out. What they do with Kaminaga, I think, is rather interesting. It's not like the original show at all. It's basically just Ultraman, just with the human host body, which is what I kind of prefer in Ultraman stories. I like it when it's the Ultra himself being the human host. I've always preferred that in most shows. Yeah, Shin PowerPoint. That's what it should have been called. All the redesigns I actually really like. I think they all look great. I don't know what my favorite one is. It might be Naranga. I think Naranga might be my favorite. But I guess some of one issue I've always had with the movie, and this is purely off my own personal taste. I'm not super huge on the fact that they don't have Ultraman use grunts. I get why they didn't do it. It's probably just to make him feel more alien and mysterious in that way. I get the choice. Do I personally agree with it? Not really. It's just because when they're doing the fights, especially when you get to Mephiles and Zeton, they kind of feel quiet, it's a little empty in that way. which I feel like the grunts just give Ultraman a little bit of life. But if the entire intent is to have no grunts because of him trying to feel more alien, I get the intention. It's just something I don't personally agree with, even though in the grand scheme I think it's more of a minor complaint. I do think some of the broader themes about, like international governments and all that, well, I think it's cool to try and bring Ultraman in a more modern lens in that way. I do feel like some of it is a little bit shallow, which I don't feel like Shin Godzilla suffers from as much for me. But in Shin Ultraman, it's a little bit there. But I appreciate the attempt, but sometimes it's not like all there. It is kind of like mouthpiece exposition type stuff. But I mean, overall though, movie's solid. I mean, the effects for the most part look pretty damn good. There are some shots that don't look great, but that's kind of to be expected with how much CGI is in this movie. But I think the worst looking stuff was in the Zerab fight. There were some pretty weird looking shots, and even in the Mephiles fight, there were some wonky ass like motion capture. But for the most part, though, I think it all looks good.
And
And
the Mephiles fight, wasn't it supposed to be a scene where basically Mephiles just T-poses his way through?
yeah, he basically does like the human emoji where he like flies over, like he just does that.
Yeah, in Shinji Higuchi's storyboards and production notes book, some of the original concepts for the Mephiles fight just straight up look like a fight you'd see in Dragon Ball Z.
That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, all the nods to the original series are great. The music's fantastic. It's just a solid movie. I don't consider it. I mean, again, this is gonna make me sound like an asshole. I don't think it's like amazing, but I do enjoy it for what it is. I think it's a fun time. I just wish it could go a little deeper on a few things. And the ending is slightly messy, but for what it is, though, I think the movie is very solid, especially through the Zerab and Mephiles parts. Those are kind of my favorite sections of the movie. But yeah, solid 3.5 out of 5.
All right, Lily.
Wait, what'd you say, Cole?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay.
That was a blur. I was radio static. You didn't hear that?
Oh, okay. Your other half took over. Okay.
Yeah. Evil Cole took over.
Evil Cole. Evil Cole. He loves Godzilla.
Evil Cole. I hate Rent a Girlfriend.
Yeah, no, Evil Cole is saying, I like Get a Robo. That's when we're in the Evil Cole arc.
So this one's my favorite of the Shin films. I guess it's more so I have more of an emotional attachment to Ultraman, even if I was introduced to Godzilla first. Because Ultraman's a very much more emotionally resonating type of work in general. It's got a more richer form of storytelling, and I think it helps with the background of Eiji Tsuburaya as a person, especially when it comes to him being one of the last devoted Catholics in Japan at the time, and the way this character fuses Buddhist and Christian theology and iconographies while also still feeling very much in line with a digestible form of a Japanese television show that fits in within the typical Monster of the Week transforming hero format. And Tony, first off, it's not serialized, it's episodic. Get it right.
Okay.
Loser.
Episodic is
my fault,
standalone. Episodic is standalone. Serialized is when it's a thorough line storyline.
Okay, ain't my fault to read a shit ton of comic books.
Hey, you should know better than that. You should know better than that if you read comic books.
I think fake comic book fan, guys. I mean, I don't know.
No, I don't know about this comic book thing, guys.
I don't believe him.
Anyway, moving.
Dude, why isn't this animated?
Yeah, dude, I read a manga and I was like, why is it black and white? Where's the color?
Why isn't there any music?
You tell me I have to read right to left? What is this shit? Like,
Dude, they should do what they did with the Dragon Ball releases and format them into American sensibilities. I want to read left to right. Seriously,
You're saying?
I really enjoy that, and I'm going to use very specific phrasing for this. I appreciate how very on the leash Higuchi puts Ano on this movie, and we'll get to the next movie. It's very good to have Ano on a bit of a leash. Stop licking your lips, you horny fuck.
We've still got one whole movie to go.
All right.
Jesus Christ. We let the dog out.
Man,
What the dog
wow.
doing?
It was a good stream, guys. It was good. I gotta go.
So since Cole is gone, shit.
Continue.
So this film kind of, for all intents and purposes, is a compilation movie. It's several episodes of the show. It's episode 3, episode 5, episode no, it wasn't episode 5. Episode 8, episode 18, episode 36, and episode 39 of the original show compiled into a whole movie and then recontextualized, reformatted to fit the overarching narrative that this film has. It's a very interesting approach to this type of thing, and while, as Cole said, there is a little bit of like weird choices editing wise, and like he also said, that goes for all these films, and we'll get to that. I really appreciate how this film reinvents a lot of the iconographies of Ultraman, but also still staying true to the core of this series. I do agree that the ending's a little bit messy, especially since it kind of is combining a totally different ending from another show, and it's Davis's favorite show.
Chargement Kitten?
No, we'll get to that.
Oh.
It's semi reinterpreting the ending of Ultraman Powered.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Unfortunately.
It's using Ultraman's power as a weapon to destroy Zeton.
Okay, I thought you meant like the
this-
final shots of the movie.
No. If it did, you would have seen someone almost die.
And you would also see like Ultraman pushing people the whole time.
Yeah, because we were trying to. The suits were not only incredibly fragile, but we thought this would be a way for American television to be okay with it, even though nobody wanted it.
And most of the budget would have gone to trips to Vegas and Hawaii.
Yes, and Hawaii. But we're not talking about Ultraman Power. That's a different Shin.
Oh, what?
Shut up.
Different shit.
I really like how we used the original design for Ultraman pre the addition of the color timer. Because this overall design was based off of the 1983 Tonorita painting Truth, Justice, and Beauty. And the overall shape of Ultraman with his kind of lankier proportions, the lack of the color timer, and it's a very beautiful painting. Look it up sometime.
I've seen it. It's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the AI generated version. I'm sorry.
Oh, go to hell.
Yeah. You mean the one that Chayo had? Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Wait, wasn't it also a thing with the original Ultraman that when he did his,
Right.
transformation?
Yeah.
He didn't have the color
still uses
timer.
the old form, pre-color timer, and I mean, wow, spoilers. Nobody knew that before they watched Ultraman. Oops.
Mhm.
And now, and now I'm getting dehydrated.
Drink some of this, man. Come on.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Just kidding, it's empty.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Yeah, not sponsored. There are some designs I'm a little bit iffy on, but I do like how the film goes about explaining why that is. And I like how it uses its own form of headcanons to explain it off. I appreciate how this film justified and interpreted why we used the Baragon suit as much as we did with Pagos, Naranga, Gabora, and then there was Zamular later down the line of the show, who, if I recall correctly, he's trying to eat coal.
What?
No, not him.
Oh,
him.
okay.
Like the energy source that's like very sooty.
Oh, you mean my brother?
Your brother? Yeah, what happened to him?
Well, the cave's got him. He's trapped in there, man. You can't get him out.
He was a minor then.
Yeah. Steve knew him.
Yeah, I am Steve.
Yeah, but do you remember when Shin Ultraman went, I am Shin Ultraman?
Gabora jockey.
That's right. That's right. While this film does have a bit of honor items I don't like, his girl archetypes. You have your very eccentric, bubbly woman, who has a random fetish thing that we do with her, smelling.
Oh yeah, I was so into that, by the way.
Yeah, I can tell your nose. You probably can't even smell out that damn thing. I really liked how this movie reinterpreted the old Science Patrol gang. It updates them in a way that still stays true to their characters, while also like obviously a bit more to the times. So we have we gender bent one of them, which is totally cool. I love her in this movie. She's great. And she's the only normal woman in this movie.
Oh, whoa. You got something against people who collect Star Trek stuff?
No.
Oh,
I'm a Star Trek fan.
Okay, but you're implying that guy wasn't normal.
Oh, okay.
I'm forgetting the character's name. I'm sorry.
Oh, see, you can't even defend him because you don't know his name.
I also know him more for the scene where he has a PlayStation VR.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where he's speaking English. Yeah, I love that part.
Yeah. So,
Sony got a paycheck for this movie.
Oh, they probably did. Check the credits.
He seemed like the most normal one out of the entire Science Patrol.
Thank God I'm the only normal one here.
Square Enix also got a check.
Yeah. Who cares about that though?
Sony does.
Oh, I guess. I guess that's true.
Yeah, you don't remember Cloud Strife's cameo for Square Enix was a part of it?
Cloud Strife,
he was just there and he's like, I am Cloud. And that was it. Like the whole audience cheered. Yeah, that's it. That's what he did.
I really love the music of this movie. I think this is probably the best use of reused music, just ripped straight from the show, of these movies, because it uses a good mastering of them to where it doesn't feel out of place. And then whenever Sakusu would use them into his own music, it was really clever. Like there's the one that's used in the trailer that's used in the Mephiles fight, that uses the rendition of the Ultra Q theme, which was brilliant. And that's going to be a talking point about Shin Kamen Rider later. And I do really like how this took the fights of each episode and then not only use the format and the budget to make them fit more into the film, but also gives them a new scale. Like, I love how we reinterpreted Gobora's drill ability to having his back also be drills, and then using it to try to kill Ultraman. That's really clever, and I appreciate his bullshit spinning ability. And I also really liked how they took this Arab fight and then made it a lot more visually fun, even if I still really love that original fight. And like also, there is still a little bit of wonkiness to it, but I'd say that very specifically happens for me when Zarab falls into the skyscraper.
That's the shot I was talking about.
Yeah.
Too. Like, that's the exact shot.
See, I know. I just know.
Dude, why?
Yeah.
Do we have the same brain?
I mean,
I hope not.
okay, so to be fair, this is a movie where I'm okay with like all the wonky aspects of it, just based on like how weirdly alien, and this was on purpose, like all the character designs are. Like, you got Ultraman, you know, who's like, you know, looks pretty slim and skinny, and it's like there even the science patrol question like if he's like naked or like which parts is his skin or if he's wearing anything. And you got Zarab, who's like
he's naked.
and you got Zarab, who's his interior is all hollow. Yeah. So like this, I don't mind like a lot of goofy aspects of it because it just feels more out of this world.
No, I like the practical glove for that one part where the
that was really cool.
He just Zarab's hand.
Yeah. I really love the Zeton encounter in this movie too. It's very cleverly done, especially compared to how Zeton encounters were in the past. It also making Zeton this big fuck ass nuke is an interesting choice.
No, he just beats them power, bro. Like, he just does that, and there you go.
He's gonna freaking crucify us all, man.
Yeah, like
it's like the Yoni NG Dragon Ball PP animation where Goku just collides with the planet and kills everyone.
I remember that video.
I found it very interesting what kind of deep cuts this movie would do. Having Zoffy's design be based off of the the sketches from the same magazine that wrongly interpreted Zoffy as the one responsible for Zeton in the original episode, which is obviously not true if you've actually seen the episode. And he also has his black tipped fin, which was on the original mask, which never returned in any of his subsequent appearances in Ultraman Ace, Ultraman Taro, Ultraman Leo, and into the Heisei era, which I really appreciated.
And there's also how his pattern is designed after Ultraman and Jack, because they recycled a Jack suit for a later Zoffy suit.
Yes, which was the style at the time. And I mean, they went as far as to scan Jack's mask for them, both Ultraman and Zoffy's masks in this movie. Another thing I really appreciated was how it still kept the color timer element of the show, but with the new design, they instead made it so that his red markings turn green to show that he's low on energy, which may or may not relate to the idea that those are his organic aspects of his body, which was sort of the original intent of the design, was that the silver is supposed to be metal, while the red is their actual skin. And you can kind of see that more so on Ultra 7, with him being a predominantly red Ultra rather than the more prominent silver of Ultraman or Jack.
Oh my god,
So
that
you
means
just laying it all out.
Seven, Taro, and Leo are naked.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Just let it hang, and
Yes. Talk about rocking out with your cock out.
Bro, really showing off that beta capsule.
That's but yeah, the kind of lip servicey political bits are definitely just kind of there, but I guess it does make ground the movie a little bit with how very high fantasy it is. Because this is a fantasy tokusatsu series, a little known fact. Even
This
if
is
it's
actually
not
a movie.
Yeah, it's a movie. Everyone knew that. But you can watch it in a television series format if you watch Shin Ultra Fight.
Yes.
Yes, and with grunts.
Yes, that's true.
Yes. Tony. Anyway. Yeah, I really love this movie. Even if Ano had directed this as well, the messaging probably would have been way more muddled since this guy has very overtly not expressed getting Ultraman. If anybody has ever read up on his thoughts on Ultraman Tiga, he hates the ending, even though that is one of the most Ultraman endings of like the entire franchise. It's why I really do appreciate that Higuchi probably gave the characters a lot more character than the script probably initially gave them. I've not read the script, so don't ping me on that.
It's okay. I'll ping you later and tell you were wrong.
Okay, that's okay. That's what you're here for.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, that's what you're here for. The C in Cold stands for contrarian.
Yep.
And yeah, overall, I love this one. I don't have the emotional turmoil that Davis had during the time this movie came out. Maybe a little bit, but not as much as he did. Okay, Davis, it's your turn, I guess. Again.
Please watch Shin Ultra Fight if you can. It is absolute peak. I also did a video on that.
Wait, is Shin Ultra Fight the one where it's a CG recreation of Ultraman and Zeton's fight, and Zeton, it's like the CG model?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the one. It's also the one where after Ultraman dies, all the kaiju and the aliens carry his body out to the ocean. They basically give him a Viking funeral, but that turns out he was still alive, so he's trying to swim back, and then he just beats the crap out of everyone. They recreate that one MMA fight between Don Fry and I forget the other guy's name.
Oh,
that one. Yeah. And then the Earth explodes. I am not kidding. That is actually what happens in an episode of Shin Ultra Fight.
Oh my god!
And all I could say was cinema.
Oh yeah,
it's just cinema.
But yeah, just to give a quick rundown on my general thoughts on Shin Ultraman, I absolutely adore the redesigns. This is also probably the best performed and acted film in the Shin Japan Heroes universe. All the characters just have a lot of life to them. Each of them do like these very minor like little moments with themselves that speaks so much about them as well.
Wait, with themselves? What do you mean by that?
Moving on. I did not mean it like that.
Oh my god.
I'd also say this is probably the best shot as well. Higuchi really loves his wide shots, as you can probably tell by watching Attack on Titan. Lots of huge wide shots that convey scope and scale. Like so much life is breathed into these characters, into these battles. It's just a damn good movie all around. I do understand that people do have their issues with it, but I don't care. I think this is a perfect movie. Like from start to finish, I have no problems with it whatsoever. And like what Lily pointed out before, the way it kind of recontextualizes its own like personal headcanons to make sense for its world building is honestly pretty inspired. The way it uses the plank brain dimension is one of the most unique concepts I've seen in a science fiction film. In addition to the way they use it to beat Zeton at the end, it's cinema. It's absolute cinema.
Davis, for you to feel better, I know you've had, after Shin Ultraman, a lot happened, but you came out of it as a better person. I'll tell you this. After Shin Ultraman came out, you know what happened? Rent a Girlfriend happened. And I have never recovered since. I have become a worse person because of that one show. Okay? So, you're doing great, buddy. Meanwhile, I'm still gooning at the screen. So it's not good.
It's all over the screen.
And with that, we move on to our final film for tonight, and that is Shin Kamen Rider.
Oh, fine. Let's get this over with.
Always come back.
So during the making of Evangelion 3.0, Ono proposed this this sort of project to Muneyuki Ki, who's a producer at Toei. Although pre-production wouldn't technically begin until 2015, when they started to actually kick the story around, and yeah, Ano's doing a lot of projects at the time, but I guess they kind of just sat on it until it was time to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Kamen Rider series. A lot of people forget that Shin Kamen Rider was made alongside Kamen Rider Black Sun and the Futo PI anime to commemorate Kamen Rider's 50th anniversary. In fact, Shin Kamen Rider was planned for a 2021 release date, but bushfires, it ended up coming out 2023. And as said while we were talking about Shin Ultraman, this was made concurrent with that film, so which explained why Ono didn't exactly have much control over Shin Ultraman, which interestingly enough, if you look at the theatrical program, I believe it's a theatrical program, if not one of the art books for Shin Ultraman, Ono does say that he was, I don't want to say disappointed, because I'm totally blanking on the correct quote. Basically, he didn't. Shin Ultraman wasn't to his personal expectations. But when we get to Shin Kamen Rider here's this is Ono basically entirely on his own, and as the people watching know, I'm not particularly fond of this movie. There are parts I like about it, but I'll get to those.
And you're wrong for that.
But that said, Tony, explain why I am wrong.
Okay, why did I want to say Shin Godzilla? We already talked
Tony,
about it.
Tony, that was an hour ago, buddy.
Was it? Well, I didn't feel. Oh, time's a flat circle for me. Okay, let me just take this off because.
Bro, thing about a better movie.
I just tore off a chunk of my hair. Okay, Shin Kamen Rider. What was the question again?
Explain why I am wrong. Why?
So it is the greatest superhero movie of all time, better than the Batman. I'm just kidding. Okay, so Shin Kamen Rider. Out of all the Shin movies, I think Shin Kamen Rider does the best job at reimagining the the character for a more modern setting while not really taking away aspects of it, or not taking away too many aspects of it, because clearly the original was an episodic series. Not taking away too many aspects of it that will deviate it from the original source material. It's also taking from two different source materials. It's taking from the original Kamen Rider show and taking elements from the manga. Now, Shin Kamen Rider, this is one thing I really think it does a lot better than Shin Ultraman, is reimagine the episode. Okay, because both movies are reimagining episodes into a single film. And I think Shin Kamen Rider does a better job at that than Shin Ultraman, mainly because, well, to give its credit, Shin with the case of Ultraman, it's episodic because monsters of the week, different monsters are coming from both space and Earth, yada yada. Shin Kamen Rider, all the bad guys are coming from the same source. Shocker. And with Shin Kamen Rider, where is it going with this? It serves as, well, just like Shin Ultraman, it serves as an origin story, but it's a lot more open-ended than both Shin Godzilla and Shin Ultraman. That's like one of the main reasons why I really like this one in particular. And it's not as blunt, if I think that's the best word to use in comparison. But when it comes to the characterization of Takashi Hongo, it's leaning more on, how do I say it? Ano's well, actually, how do I say it? He feels more like Shinji from Evangelion, but from a more mature stance, since this version of Takashi Hongo, he's still a college student and all. But it comes from a sense of that it's a more understandable reason why he's more of a depressed loner in a sense that, like, okay, more people could probably relate to this, and it all accumulates to how his worldview contrasts to the butterfly og, and in the end, which I really appreciate, it's less of trying to beat the crap of and kill the main bad. It's more of him trying to convince him to basically trust his beliefs. And when it comes to other characters like Miss Ruruko, okay, I do miss the Ruruko characterization from the original Kamen Rider show, and I do admit it is a little bit annoying how she's basically Rei from Evangelion. But at the same time, it does serve purpose to the plot in the sense of, like, okay, so the reason why she's like emotionally stunted to begin with is because her lack of human communication interactions with her father, and not so much with her brother, but it's to the point where she's obviously a person that's more focused on her work than anything else. And it's not until she builds a human connection with Takashi Hongo that you kind of get a sense that, okay, maybe deep down she is a more open person. And that's when the tragedy strikes where, Sean, okay. I like the fact that this Hongo has incredible power, yet is an incredibly vulnerable person thrust into a wild predicament. Yes. Oh, man. Wait, being totally blind to the series, I had a lot of fun sitting down and absorbing it all. It was a blast, great performance, a set piece, so I really enjoyed it. Oh, yeah, I agree with that. Well, okay, where was I?
The performances were outstanding.
Yes. It has my favorite. Okay, like, as much as I love the performances in Shin Godzilla and Shin Ultraman, Shin Kamen Rider, oh my god! Like, when the plot gets into the more really depressing moments, I'm like, holy crap, this is wow, really heavy stuff. Let's talk about Ruruko right before I got to those two comments. But yeah, I really do love Ruruko's character arc in it, especially towards the end when it gets to Hongo reading her last messages. That really struck really hard. The only thing I could admit that I wish there was a lot more characterization and, well, honestly, a lot better fight scenes with is why is his name slipping my tongue all of a sudden?
I told you.
Yeah, Ichimochi. Hayato Ichimochi.
Fake fan.
hey, like honestly, I believe that he could have been developed a little bit more in the beginning, but I do like how they basically go over the basic aspects of the character, like how he's a journalist who got abducted and brainwashed. Kind of wish he built a better connection with Ryuko before she died, and got the new Takashi Hongo for like maybe one or two more scenes before their fight. And oh boy, and I think a lot of us are aware about this. Basically the fight with all the rider hoppers was reshot completely. Originally, it was supposed to be like the manga where basically they're just like chasing him in the mud, and it was supposed to be an actual shot chase scene, not whatever that tunnel fight or that tunnel chase was. That could have been a lot better. And there was supposed to be an actual fight scene in a factory with the two Kamen Riders and all the Shocker Riders. And man, seeing that deleted footage just makes me a little depressed, because we could have had a lot more. But yeah. But I do like the final battle with the Butterfly Og, because the movie goes from, okay, this super hyper stylized, definitely, resembling more like the original show style of fighting, where, okay, lots of sound effects, lots of crazy shots and kicks and all that. Then like, and freaking the music really helps it. It feels real when like they're once Takashi Hongo and Butterfly Og, they're just like on top of each other. And granted, it does feel a bit dragged out, and like I think someone in the theater did laugh, and someone called it something resembling a gay porno. But at the same time, I'm like, damn, okay, all of a sudden Kamen Rider is put into a more realistic looking fight, mainly because he's fighting someone who's as strong as him. So it looks like a more real fight where two guys are just on the ground going, yeah. Wait, on top of each other. Okay. But okay, what I really like about this, like, okay, this movie has my favorite ending out of all the Shin movies. Okay, like all the other Shin movies are either abrupt or like open for interpretation. This one, no, and it's not on a sudden down sloping feeling. It's like, okay, like the world still needs Kamen Rider. Freaking Hayato Ichimonji becomes the next Kamen Rider. I'm like, and granted, yeah, they kind of do the trope where, well, I don't even want to call it trope, but it's basically the idea that, okay, so the superhero gets his actual costume by the end of the movie or show. Yeah, it kind of feels a little cheesy, but at the same time, I'm like, wow, this is like a real, like, for the first time in one of these movies, like it's a movie with like a bright future towards it, and wow, yeah, I think that's why I think Shin Kamen Rider is my favorite out of the Shin anthology.
I do want to briefly touch on this regarding the ending. It is a really nice touch how both Hongo and Ichimonji do appear wearing the costumes that they wore when they first show up in the series, and then at the very end when Ichimonji gets his new suit, like it is specifically based on the much more like popular like visual of what Kamen Rider is. It's like at that point he has assumed not just the role of Kamen Rider, but the idea of Kamen Rider.
Bright green, bright reds.
Yeah.
Yep.
I do wish the gloves and boots were silver though.
Yeah, okay, that's one nitpick I have about the final suit. Yeah.
All right, cool.
All right. So remember when I said that I was going to be an asshole about
Wolf.
Shin
I'm just kidding.
Ultraman?
No, I'm just kidding. No,
So that's going to continue with Shin Kamen Rider, but it's going to be like tenfold on this one. So, like, here's the thing: it's not a bad movie. I gave it a 3 out of 5.
Mhm.
We clear? We're clear. All right, great. We got that covered. This is my least favorite of all the Shin stuff by a considerable bit. I feel like the biggest issue I have with this movie is with the characters. A lot of it is very one note, it feels like, for most of the movie.
But
like
there's Hongo, okay?
Well,
I saw my
And a
dad
lot of
get killed by Namba from Yakuza.
well, here's the thing. Like, a lot of the attributes they're trying to say that these characters have are mostly just explicitly said, and then we're just supposed to roll with it. They're like, oh, but Ichimonji, Hongo's like, he's a nice guy, and they say it over and over again, and it's like, okay. The whole part of him trying to realize that, or get over the fact that he is like now this robotic machine and he's not completely human anymore, and then he still tries to fight and realizes that he still has some humanity in him and fight for that humanity.
Yeah,
it's really quickly brushed, like it's like one scene and then it's over.
You mean the characters?
Because like in the show, and especially in the manga, you got to know Hongo before he was forcefully transformed. Like having that context feels important because you really get to feel how tragic his existence has become. And even though he's gone over, this trauma, it still like lingers with him because he's literally wearing it like on his face.
Yeah, like, and in terms of Kamen Rider knowledge, I'm not as die hard as say like Ultraman or Godzilla, but I've read at least the manga, read that in full, and I've seen most of the original show, just not every single episode. That was mostly because of the video I did for the schmuck on top. So, but even with that, like I got the references. It was just that I guess they were like, oh yeah, that's neat. But I think the prevailing issue with the movie for me is that the characters just were not super deep. They weren't deep enough for what the story was trying to be. And the story really didn't start clicking until like the last 30 minutes or so. That stretch, I think, is pretty good, barring the fight scenes in between that. But I mean, like the story in between, it's actually pretty solid. I like what they're trying to say. And Ichimonji is the standout character of the movie because he's an actual character. He immediately has a personality and his dialogue's fun. He bounces off other characters well. And that's why I gravitated towards him the most. Like, Hongo is just kind of a blank slate the whole movie until the very end, where he has admittedly he has like a great monologue near the end, but it just didn't really work for me for most of the movie.
But Cole, don't you like to go camping?
I mean, no, I don't know what the outside looks like, frankly.
Okay.
What color is the sky?
I wonder whose fault is that.
I don't know.
It could be any one of these people.
He could be in this very room. It could be you. It could be me.
But what was I going to say? Oh yeah, the fight scenes were kind of a mixed bag. I liked the first couple fight scenes. I liked the spider fight and the first fight in the woods. I really liked those parts because they were mostly practical, and that's what I kind of wanted. Like this one to kind of be a lot more practical. What is that? What is that? What is grass? Basically, once like they started going really heavily with the CGI, it kind of took me out. The one time it didn't was with the Wasp augment fight. I actually didn't mind that one. That one was
actually has like one of my favorite depictions of super speed in a movie.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like the super speed part of it made sense, and that's why it didn't really take me out. Like the Man Bat, the Ichimonji fight, or especially the Fake Rider fight. That one in particular. And Davis, you said that was the brighter version of the scene. Did I get that right?
Okay, so the theatrical version of the tunnel sequence is actually pretty, we all know it's dark, but for the home video and streaming versions, they actually brightened it.
Wow.
Okay. Even with the brightened footage, I could not tell what the fuck was going on during that entire scene.
Hence why
It
they
was-
should have kept the factory version of the fight
Yeah,
with the Shocker Riders.
and just in general, I just wish the movie was more practical. If you get what I mean, like it feels like this movie is kind of in an identity crisis of wanting to honor the old like scrappy feel of the original, but also having these big flashy set pieces. That-
we will get to that.
Yeah, it kind of it's very clear that there is like this big conflict there, and it kind of permeates throughout a lot of the movie. But like the Ichimonji fight, that one took me out too, because that one was, I don't know, it felt like such a huge clash compared to the rest of the movie stylistically. And like the final fight is pretty good, but that's because it's honoring the stuff that was in like the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And even then, like some of the, I wasn't huge on some of the designs of some of the augments. Like Man Bat wasn't a huge one I liked.
It's classic. Come on.
Colonel Sanders.
Yeah.
Yeah, Japanese Colonel Sanders. Oh yeah, the Scorpion
Colonel
Lady
Sanders is
scene.
just regular
The-
Colonel Sanders.
The Scorpion Lady scene led to fucking nothing. That was a waste
I
of
mean,
time.
It was kind of hot, not gonna lie.
I mean, yeah, I mean, tits are
You have
cool, I
you have
guess,
a
but
girlfriend,
like,
dude.
yeah, I mean, like, look, yeah, tits are cool, but like, bro, the scene led to nothing. Like, there was no point of the scene. It just ends, and the plot never benefited from it at all. It just
I mean,
existed.
it's better than just like explain like in the it would like what happens with the Cobra guy in the end of it. It's better than saying like, oh yeah, we just got this bullet from this Scorpion lady that we killed a while ago without showing it. And like, okay, at least have the audacity to show
You
that
just
okay, there was a
implement
Scorpion
scene of
person
them
before.
you
before
could
the
just
guy-
say that there's a scene of them making the bullet or something, and that would have been fine. Yeah, like I don't know, the scene didn't really add much to me at all. I felt like you could just delete it from the movie and nothing changes.
Actually,
this movie was just kind of a mess in general. Yes, should have turned no
Turned
guns.
to
I
Jack
agree.
Scorpion.
I agree. But yeah, this movie was kind of a mess. I still thought it was fine. Like it wasn't terrible or anything. It just didn't do a ton for me. But I still liked the cinematography. I still liked the music was still good.
I mean, that's what you get when you got the composer of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 2.
Yeah, there were some tracks I really did like in the movie. And oh my god, there was another thing I was gonna say. Shit. Oh yeah, I really like the Kamen Rider suit, especially specifically Hongo's. Really love the look of it. I think it looks awesome, even though it's basically just the original Kamen Rider suit, just more
Upgraded
stylized. Yeah, like I really like what they did with it, and I like how practical like the suit kind of feels. Like the mouth jaw like actually like moves when he talks and all that. I find that like a cute touch.
What do you think
find
of the
that
trench
cool.
coat? Like the addition of a trench coat.
Yeah, the trench coat goes pretty hard. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, this movie was like fine. I think it's competent. It just has a lot of issues, especially when it comes to the writing, because a lot of the character work is really weak. Because the stuff near the end, I think, is conceptually there, and they're good scenes. It's just a lot of the character work before that is very shallow and surface level, and you don't really get to spend a lot of time with these characters before these big scenes happen. Because if we had some more proper time with them, I feel like those later scenes would connect with me more. But they really don't, which is a shame because there is stuff in the end I like. But even then, some of the action scenes are kind of like, what the fuck did I just watch? And others I'm like, okay, that was actually pretty cool. Yeah, the whole movie's just kind of a clusterfuck. But yeah, 3 stars out of 5.
Well, that's because you've never been camping before, and you don't know
No,
what it's like outside. So.
Tony, what is this outside you keep talking
No,
about?
you
What
can't. You
is
can't
it?
relate to the scene where Hongo misses that. Well, he can't really get hungry anymore, and that's the power of camping outdoors.
Yeah, I saw him eating food and I went, man, I wish I could eat food. So,
I mean,
Yeah, I don't know who's responsible.
I've gone camping and I still gave it 3 stars out of 5 on Letterboxd.
Yeah, but you go outside.
You've never been camping at night.
Yes, I have.
Oh yeah,
No,
proof.
I need photographic evidence of
Picture
that.
no proof.
All right, Lily.
First off, Davis, do you remember when we watched this movie?
Vaguely, but I do recall you being disappointed.
Whenever I watched this movie with Davis, I was originally back when I was audibly groaning and then covering my face in embarrassment.
Are you talking? Okay, are you talking about this Shin Kamen Rider, or are you talking about the one with the psychic fetus?
That's Kamen Rider Shin.
Same thing.
No,
Wait, so
it's-
it's a Kamen Rider that's just a shin? Am I getting that right? Just a literal shin?
yeah, the little Shin.
Oh, okay. Well, glad we got that covered.
Log,
Okay,
that's
good.
called.
Yeah. I really hate this movie.
That's a good hashtag.
I had never received secondhand embarrassment watching a movie before I watched this, but this movie gave me very major secondhand embarrassment. It makes a lot of wrong decisions, and I think it comes down to the fact that this adapts the TV show, which, for all intents and purpose, a lot of the original shows kind of slop.
Hey,
I've watched
No,
the show twice.
Lily, you're telling me the episode where they try to find Hitler's tomb isn't peak? Come on, that's the best episode.
I like that episode.
Good. Okay, anything you say now, I agree with. Okay, continue.
Okay, so I think if it's considered an adapt to the manga, this is a terrible adapt to the manga. Because, and I'm gonna put something frontal here. If this were the case, Ichimonji is not being adapted correctly. Ichimonji is part of the Shocker Rider batch in the manga.
oh yeah.
And during that arc, that's when Hongo saves him, and that's when he joins him in the battle. And for the most part, Hongo and Ichimonji in the manga are fighting together. It's not like the Toku production where Fujioka gets into a biking accident, and we have to basically soft reboot the show. And because it's Toei, it has to go on for an absurdly long time. Anybody who's seen the original Toei Mazinger, 92 episodes of the same fucking episode. Fuck
Yeah.
that. Fuck that, Cole. I hope you enjoy whenever you have to edit maybe 92 episodes of garbage.
Wait, hold on. You're telling me there are 2 episodes of Mazinger Z that are the same fucking episode?
Yes.
Like, animation-wise, it's the same thing?
Story-wise,
Oh.
once you've seen 2 episodes of that show, you've seen the whole show.
Oh, good. Okay, so Davis, just show me the first and last episode then. Okay,
Yeah.
glad we agree.
And that show, Toei Mazinger also steals plots from Ultraman, straight up. It's even the movie is just a ripoff of an Ultraman Ace episode. Regardless, I think one of the wider issues, and Cole has brought up, the characters kind of suck in this movie. I do agree Ichimonji is probably the best part, and that's because, and I know exactly what it is, it's bias. Ano is more interested in writing Ichimonji because Ichimonji is the otaku ideal Kamen Rider, and one of the parts is that he's sexist. Most people don't point out that was a problem with Kamen Rider, but Kamen Rider is very sexist in the shows. I've watched all of them up to Wizard, and I've watched some of the Reiwa stuff. There's a lot of sexism. It's because it's Toei and Bandai, and together they just make slop.
I mean,
Slop.
yeah, there's a lot of sexism in Kamen Rider Forza, and that show takes place in a high school.
It's because it's also directed by Sakamoto, and he's weird.
Wait, don't tell me Koichi Sakamoto.
Yes, he directed.
Oh,
That's the man who made the Absolute Conspiracy.
Yes, and he did Ultraman Trigger, the one where he casted the main actress because he saw her in a Grabber magazine and she was underage because Japanese Grabber commonly does that. It's a very exploitive magazine.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. That's actually wild. Oh my god.
Yes, and now you kind of wonder why he hasn't done anything in a while in Japan.
Well, I mean, he did make Absolute Conspiracy and Destined Crossroads.
Not only just from the fact that he kind of tanked his reputation, and now he's working in China. You gotta get him out.
Get him out of there.
Get him out. Get him out of here. Ruriko is, I don't know why she's even in this movie if she's just going to be, she's kind of just an accessory.
Well, she's basically like Rey from Evangelion.
Yeah, which equals boring.
Hey, you got a problem with people who, kind of hide their emotions in a way?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, guys, Willie hates humanity confirmed.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Butterfly Og. We need to kill everyone.
Butterfly Og's whole plan is basically the Human Instrumentality Project.
We're very original, guys. I also don't like how it reinterprets a lot of things from the original manga and show. Like, why are we reinterpreting Shocker as just happy science cult?
It's socially relevant.
So are neo. You can. So are like imperialist and neo-Nazis.
It's like how Shin Godzilla reimagines the nuclear aspect of the character with Fukushima.
That's not the same thing. That's not the same thing, Tony. This is like neo-Nazis and imperialists are still a major problem in Japan and everywhere. Like, it is still an incredibly relevant thing, and we still see fascists today. Look outside your window.
I know. I mean,
you did not. That's like Call of Duty World War II censoring the swastikas and the Iron Cross. Like, that's just sugarcoating an obvious thing that was integral to the purpose of the original work. The entire point of Shocker is that they are neo-Nazis, they are imperialists, they are fascists, they are not cultists. That's the reason. Like, why would a cult do cyborg augmentations and have all this money? That doesn't make any sense.
Because
when you say it like that does make sense.
Dude, they got bored. What else are you gonna do? You're rich.
Do something, bro. Yeah, sure, whatever. I guess make as many Mission Impossibles as you want. Happy Science doesn't really have a foothold in Japan that way. They're a bunch of fucking idiots. The entire thing about Kamen Rider is that punching the shit out of Shocker is an inherently very political concept. You're punching fascism in the face, and in this movie, it's let's punch a mild issue in the face. Shocker doesn't really have any sense of threat to them. They're just kind of here. They're not going out of their way to kidnap people and then you don't see any of the forced conversions. I will agree.
Wait, what?
I was gonna say I will agree with the stakes of Shocker. They do just kind of exist. The stakes aren't.
You have to read the manga. You have to read the manga.
I have read the manga, and
But
the thing is in the movie itself, it feels like Shocker just kind of you don't feel the everlasting impact beyond the one part about the town they take over. But other than that, the feeling of Shocker is not like across the world, it doesn't really feel that realized in the movie. So I do agree with that point, that I feel like Shocker is just the stakes aren't really realized in terms of like a more global or even national scale, if we're going to go off
like
that.
the entire point of it was that this was an isolating, almost like completely losing battle. Like, we're fighting against not only this group that's in this country, we're fighting against an entire organization that's across the entire world. We have to fight the very idea of it, and it's a universal idea. It's why we used Hongo went overseas to fight Shocker as an excuse to write him off. Like, this is something that we have to fight on our own against all odds. Like, it's a complete underdog scenario, even if Kamen Rider, for all intents, is the most powerful of them because he has a human soul still. He didn't lose it in the conversion, which was, as you know, the final stage of the conversion was remove their humanity and make them totally obedient to the cause. And it also doesn't really help. We kind of don't see how this is affecting people. Like, there is no everyday element to this movie. It's just solely focused on the heroes. And even then, our heroes are kind of not people. It makes these awkward changes, like saying that Hongo was, despite being an A student, an athlete, he is entirely alone. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Especially if you're a school athlete, you are not only working in a team, you have to be communicative. Davis, you were in college football. You know that you can't exactly be an isolated individual. You kind of have to talk to people. I guess it just shows Ano just never did sports.
No, I know football. You go, duh, you say height, and then you throw the ball, and you score the touchdown.
Yes,
Right.
that's exactly what happens.
Yeah,
Good,
the
good,
color.
good.
Yeah, you gotta bring coloring books. It's got pictures in it. It's you should invite your friends and do it sometime.
Do the coloring books have words? I don't like when they have words.
I also think the choreography in this movie sucks. It's not entirely the stunt choreographer's fault. Cole, it's the editing. Even though Cole mentioned that the initial forest fight is one of his favorite bits, the editing makes that scene suck. And I also comes down to how it's shot. It's quick cuts. It's cut at the same rate as Bohemian Rhapsody's cafe scene. It's 200 cuts a minute. And it doesn't really let any of the fights have impact because it's so fast. We don't really feel how powerful a punch is. It's only an implied power through just kind of blood splatters, which I guess if you want to pretend that's how you show how powerful someone is, I guess you can do that. But if you immediately compare that to the final fight against Kamen Rider Zero / the Butterfly Og, whenever he throws a punch, we actually feel the impact.
Are you talking about
Even if it's
when Butterfly punches Kamen Rider, or when Kamen Rider tries to punch him?
Whenever he punches Kamen Rider, and you get a very meaty punch, and then it cuts to a stylistic shot of him spewing out blood. Like, that's how you sell an impact of a hit.
Oh, speaking of the punch sound effects, I have to say there were some stock punch sound effects in this movie that took me out of it so bad, dude. It's like punch sound effects that you find on like a YouTube search that's like for comedy. I was like,
dude, that's
oh
awesome.
man.
Like-
That's great.
Wait, what? Like what? Like when in the forest fight, where you like?
No, like across the whole movie, there were like times where they would play like a very stock punch sound effect, and it like took me out for like a second.
It's like whenever I'm watching a movie and I hear a Half-Life sound effect.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. It's like whenever Dark of the Moon has the Half-Life shotgun reload.
Wait, what? I didn't know it was that.
Now you do. Next time on TokuTitanCast.
We're never making another episode again.
Like the Double Riders fight, terrible. It's weightless. You're
Double
just watching Double Riders, Kamen Rider 1, 2, whenever they fight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
1.0 plus 2.0. Okay,
Oh,
good.
yeah,
we got this.
yeah.
I thought you meant
Yeah.
like double riders. That's in the end. I'm like, wait, there isn't a fight in like when Ichimoji becomes the main Kamen Rider.
Tony.
Yeah.
Anyway, like it's floaty. It reminds me of whenever I would be in Gmod and I would just make ragdolls like slam into each other, and their physics could react to each other by throwing themselves around on their skeletons. Or like whenever I watch TF2 animations, like, and it would just be
They even pull sound effects from those.
yes,
Did you
right.
say it looks like something out of SFM?
yes, but not as funny. I also the Double Riders versus Shocker Riders fight sucks.
Okay, yeah, I can agree with that. They
it-
should have gone with the one they actually filmed instead
Yeah,
of
like which was a lot more practical. I don't really like it. The tunnel fight also is very copy and paste with animations. Like I can get that they're all a single hive mind, but at least don't make it look shit. That's important. You can have something be of a hive mind but not be shitty. I'm not too big on the Wasp Og versus Kamen Rider fight. I think it still has a lot of camera issues. It's too quick with some of its cuts, and then do a weird frame. It does get better, and I do conceptually like how it approaches super speed. Sort of like how, and I can't believe I'm ever giving a compliment to the Eternals. I do like how both those films portrayed super speed. They're much better than how the CW obviously portrays super speed, which is nonsense. But it's the Speed Force. I don't gotta explain shit. And like I said, I wish it was more practical, and especially with this film, it should have really prioritized it. And I blame Ano. He is incredibly anal, and Davis will probably go into it. He was a little bit childishly perfectionist during this, and it kind of tanked his reputation. And it's why if you ever go to the studio car Twitter, it doesn't say President Ano anymore. It just says President.
Oh my god! What?
Oops. Maybe we should have been a little bit more professional when we're on set. Oops. And I don't know. This movie fucking sucks. I will give a credit though. The composer for this movie, who I already forgot the name. Oops. He does a really great job at doing new renditions of the original themes. They're very well done. I completely applaud him for being kind of the only person to go for that kind of level. Like Sagasu didn't really do that too much, and that's probably more so Higuchi's fault. With Higuchi being the whimsical little gnome that he is. But yeah, movie sucks. Thumbs down.
Thumbs down.
Boo! Stinks. You suck, yeah, jackass. David's turn.
Okay, so we've kind of alluded to been alluding to this, and when I made like a post about it on Twitter like many months ago, I'm surprised not a lot of people knew about it because it was very well documented through the NHK documentary about the making of Shin Kamen Rider. So basically what happened was that Ano and the action director, Keiya Tabuchi, they kept clashing on set. Basically, Ano wanted action sequences that more so resembled that of the original series, while also kind of putting his own spin on it, I guess. Meanwhile, Keiya Tabuchi, he really wanted to emphasize more practical fight choreography, something that made the action feel more real, more elevated. Because let's be honest, I'm just going to go ahead and say a lot of the say like hand-to-hand combat choreography in a lot of older tokusatsu shows isn't exactly the perfect model that you want to base your action on. So this got to a point where Tabuchi threatened to leave the production because Ano it just kept expressing displeasure towards how Tabuchi was doing the action. Now, for better context, when the action director usually has final say as to how action sequences go. It's not the director's job to decide on how the action would flow because that is not their specialty. Now, Keiya Tabuchi, he's had a very long career. He's done stunt work for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and he's also he's also directed the stunt work in choreography in Attack on Titan and Shin Ultraman. And now Power Rangers, it's debatable, but because it wasn't him directing it, he was one of the stunt actors. Tabuchi also did the stunt work in Bullet Train Explosion. So when you look at all of this, it's very dynamic, very meaty, like what Lily said earlier about the butterfly augment fight. You see that Tabuchi is very capable of doing this stuff. I mean, House of Ninjas on Netflix, he directed the action for that, and it's really fun stuff. So it almost feels like this weird slap in the face in how Ano was really his own worst enemy when it came to the production of this. But long story short, after Tabuchi threatened to leave, Ano was basically in a panic and convinced him, to stay and give him more creative freedom on how the action would go in the films, which resulted in the way the final fight against Kamen Rider Zero came out. And even though it wasn't shot or edited the best, likely because Ano doesn't exactly know how to film sequences like that perfectly. It also explains why the opening fight is very practical, despite its jankiness in the editing and cinematography there. But again, this is very well documented. You can like if you look hard enough, I'm sure you can find the documentary that this is in. And it does unfortunately explain a lot about not just the presentation, but also the approach that Ono was kind of taking with this film. It's a huge shame because you can tell this was such a huge passion project for him. I mean, just think about it. You get to make a movie based on one of your favorite shows, and it's not all, like it's largely shot on location, which I'm sure that's where most of the budget went. Like that sounds like a dream, and Ano got a bit big of a head, shot himself in the foot, go too carried away. Definitely needed that leash, as Lily mentioned, and I don't find Shin Kamen Rider to be that effective or powerful as a film as it should be. And as I said before, I do really like the performances. I think all the actors in the movie give it their all. But it's just very unfortunate through and through. I do like the intention of certain scenes. Just as a whole, it does kind of come off as dull. So watch my video. Sean edited that.
Mike. Hell out over here. Promotion. My God.
But
Yeah, we're not even doing that, man.
Yeah. Nothing else really comes to mind for me regarding this. There's also the side story, Shocker Side. It is it's a spin-off manga that takes place before Shin Kamen Rider and then adapts the movie after it does all the groundwork. Now I haven't read it, but I think it's just weird and also a little unfair that a lot of the context and a lot of the world building and a lot of the depth and emotion is not even in the actual movie. It's in a homework assignment.
Well, it gives context to guys like the Spider Og and forgot which one, but it made one guy come off like he was actually a full-on Nazi, but he was like wearing a VR headset and like he's a member of the cult. I forgot which villain is it, but like
Yeah, and it's stuff like that where I wish we actually saw conveyed in some capacity. Apparently, the Scorpion Og and Ichiro, the Butterfly Og, they were like really close friends for like the longest time, and they don't even share a single scene together in the movie.
I think that's more of a matter of like the movie's runtime. It wants to focus more on the only bad guy the movie wanted to focus on was the Butterfly Og, and mainly because he's like tied closer to the protagonist.
But yeah, like it just feels misguided as a whole. But there's one more thing regarding the Shin Heroes universe.
Oh,
Wait, what?
no.
What?
What is it?
Is this what I think it is?
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Shit.
The only vague representation of Super Sentai in this entire collaboration, because Ano wasn't ever really a Sentai guy, and
Which is dumb.
And Eva kind of awkwardly fills in the slot for Sentai, considering that this is 3 of the big 4. But yeah, not really much to say about this one, other than the fact that for some
The
reason,
toy looks
yeah.
terrible compared to the suit. I love the suit actually.
Yeah.
How does the toy look
Yeah.
like that?
I should also note that when the toy came out, it was like $300, but because not a lot of people bought it, they like marked the price down. You can find it secondhand for like 200.
And even then, it still vaguely resembles the actual suit.
You know, if the toy was made completely out of die cast, then sure, maybe it could be $200. No, that's not $200. What is this? I will say though, if we're going off the design, it's really dumb, but I kind of love it, and it's a promotional thing. So what are you gonna do? And you know what? I've seen worse Sentai mech designs, frankly. So you know, it's not that bad. I kind of like it.
I do find it funny how Hongo is basically Koji Kabuto in this situation.
Also,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
Dude,
Especially the
Godzilla's
original
like
concept for Mazinger, where the writer would have to right up the back and
No, you look at his chest. Godzilla's like a xenomorph coming out of there.
It's very much referencing the lion crest head of the stuff works like Brave, Go Lion, I guess.
Nope, it's the xenomorph. It's the only thing it is. No other reference. That's
Yeah. Sorry.
look how
His
tiny
goal line
the
doesn't
That's,
matter.
wings
that's,
are.
that's my bad.
Is that supposed to
That's
be
my
are the wings supposed to be like a reference to Mazinger's plane that connects to him or something?
I mean, it's Shin Godzilla's tail split in half.
bad. Look, don't
So
worry about it.
so Goromaki is actually a robot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, say what you will, but I think it's kind of cool that they made a real suit of this, though. Like, I do think that is kind of cool.
We had so much money wasted.
It is money wasted, but I don't care. I think it's funny that they made a suit.
It's also kind of funny. I bring up the Hongo and Koji Kabuto comparison because the original concept for Mazinger Z, also known as Energy Z, instead of a hovercraft, Koji was going to ride a motorcycle that would go up a ramp and then pilot Mazinger through there. But they scrapped the motorcycle in favor of a hovercraft because Kamen Rider was popular. And
okay.
so
Because I remember seeing concept art for the original Mazinger Z. He had a whole freaking ramp on his back.
yeah.
And freaking he'd have to drive upwards on top of his head.
So Go Nagai didn't want to copy Kamen Rider, so he went to help revolutionize the mecha genre. Any additional comments on Shin Universe Robo?
Peak fiction.
You think there's gonna be a better figure of that thing out there, or no? Because I don't want to be stuck with that.
Yeah, if you really think Sola Chigoken's gonna make one, yeah, good luck.
Yeah, good luck, man.
Watch that be like $900.
Nobody can buy that.
I've actually considered getting the Chigokens for each member of the Robot Romance trio, and they're like 300 each.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I could hypothetically make a better figure by just tearing apart a Evangelion figure, an Ultraman figure, and maybe a NECA Shin Godzilla figure. I want to know where to get a small Kamen Rider though.
I'd have more fun grabbing a SH Monstars figure and throwing it as hard as I can at a fucking brick wall and watch it explode than buy this. So, you know.
That's awesome. You should do that.
I'll get back to you on that one.
Okay. Davis, how far are we from your next milestone?
Please say a billion subscribers. Please say a billion subscribers.
All right, so I'm currently at 38.8 thousand subs.
Okay,
yeah, that's a long way to billion. That's a long way to billion.
If we get to 1 million, Cole will throw an SH Monster Shin Godzilla against the wall.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
We're good.
Can you keep the pieces?
Sure, I'll sell them on eBay. Piece 26 of demolished Monster Ice figure.
Those actual eBay listings that do that.
All right, so that pretty much wraps this whole near 4-hour discussion about the Shin Japan Heroes universe, and
4 hours.
what an interesting collection of films. Wouldn't you all say? Now,
Yeah,
Yeah,
We-
can we end the stream now?
uh,
we do something else.
now, like we all have things to appreciate and also gripe about when it comes to these movies, especially certain parts of these movies. But in a way, I am kind of glad that it exists. It's this weird little microcosm of IPs just melting together, just cause.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun like promotional idea. You know, I mean, like that'll get people to pay attention when you got that many franchises together. So you know,
They'll make people go to your fancy little store and use a claw machine to get your unpainted molds of Shin Godzilla, Eva Unit 01, Ultraman, and Kamen Rider, and then paint it themselves. I love gimmicks.
Also, I'm just noticing, isn't Ava Unit 1 holding that spear backwards?
yeah, dude, Aura. It's
Yeah.
Aura.
Lance of Longinus.
Orbra.
I mean, look, Godzilla's like he's like backed up like that. I mean, like, dude, that's Aura. They're all just
Yeah,
Aura
and then
farming in
I
this
think-
picture.
Kamen Rider's just fucking huge for some reason. You know,
Oh yeah, I mean, have you seen the mobile game Godzilla Battle Line? Reckon Kamen Rider's the same height as Godzilla.
I mean,
Look, what they didn't tell you is that Shin Kamen Rider in his spare time watched Kamen Rider J and was like, I can do that, and then he got big. That's what he did. So,
well, I mean, Kamen Rider can just do that. Did y'all forget Ultraman versus Kamen Rider?
oh, that's
oh
why.
yeah.
You stupid! I forgot. Oh my god.
So yeah, that about does it. But we are not done yet. So
Oh my god! What
God
do we
damn.
have to do now?
So we've been going on about what's essentially a passion project,
Mhm.
and
Are you gonna plug Titanius?
Don't you do it? I swear to God, don't you do it?
Are you gonna plug Titanius?
I am not just plugging Titanius. I am letting you all know that Titanius Book 2,
Oh my
Trials of Olympus, is coming later this year.
Sweet.
Winter.
That's awesome. Let's go.
And I just want to give a huge shout out to Blank's Potato on Twitter for just this gorgeous piece. There's an article on Sakura Central where I talk about what it was like collaborating with her to pretty much put together this little promo image and a lot of like little intricacies that you can kind of see here, like the scar going across Titanius's eye right there. That was all her. I insisted that she keep it there because it like resembled a tear. But yeah, there's more to come soon. I'm working on the final touches of the second Titanius book. It's been a crazy ride. I mean, I've kind of been sharing to play guys here, and I'm just really excited to see, people's reactions to just how the story has like transformed over time, because like at this point it's become something so so personal to me that like it's one of the things I like think about the most at this point. But yeah, expect lots of action, lots of character driven moments. There was a point where I actually kind of teared up while writing a chapter because I just got too deep into it. Yeah, at that, let's go ahead and stop it here. I mean, I think that's all there is to be said about the Shin Japan Heroes universe, as well as Titania's Book 2 Trials.
Hold
of
on,
the
can we restart the whole thing again? I forgot exactly
Yeah.
what we talked about. Can we start?
Yeah, can we like run it back again?
Can we run
Hey,
it back, guys?
will there be any Titania's action figures out there?
I mean, not action figures per se.
Davis, that is not an SH Figure Arts.
I would like to get something started down in that venue. It's just going to be a matter of whether or not I can afford it.
Yeah, I forgot I threw my Shin Godzilla Blu-ray over there. I need to pick that up.
All right,
Mine's in the closet.
so let's go ahead. Give everyone our send-offs, and we'll be good to go. Cole, what do you got going on? What do you got to say?
Help
Floor
me.
is yours.
This is what I gotta say. Help me. Get me out of this place.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm saved. Oh. No, but yeah, so lately I've basically just been doing editing for a bunch of people. I've been working on this schmuck's videos. I've been working on some other people's videos. Soon a new video will be coming out for a friend called Bonk Longo, where he dressed up as Dracula and went around G-Fest interviewing a bunch of people. I worked
That
on
is
that.
peak.
That's coming out soon. Hope everybody enjoys. In terms of Gingy Boy, he'll be coming around eventually. I have a few video ideas. I need to actually sit down and work on those. But yeah, basically, I've just been editing, and you can follow me still on Godzilla Gamer 77 on a bunch of platforms. And if you ever need a video to be edited, hit me up, and I will probably work on it. So, you know, because I'm desperate for money because Davis does not feed me. So there you go.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna do that because I kind of suck ass at editing. So
Hey, if you need someone to edit, I'll gladly do it.
All right, Tony.
all right, so yeah, I'm Daikaiju Tony, and you know, even though life's gotten a lot more busier now than usual because a lot of crazy factors that were out of my control and university and all, I'm still open to making YouTube videos. I still have a bunch of scripts that I'm planning on filming eventually, and Cole right here, I could pay you to be my editor, please. And
Please, Tony, I'm desperate. Please give me money.
Do you have any more beer, Tony? I don't carry around beer to feed Cole.
Okay. Well, this.
What are you trying to say, man? What are you trying to say here?
Okay, got a little bit of beer on my keyboard. Oh, man.
Anything for the
Okay.
bit.
Anything for the bit.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I'm Daikaiju Tony. You could probably follow me on my social medias. Just look up Daikaiju Tony or Daikaiju Tony, and I'll be there. Yeah.
And apparently, you can find us through the first episode of Kamen Rider Zets, which recommended this stream.
What?
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
Oh.
Appreciate you tuning in. All right, Lily.
Oh boy. This is a laptop.
I'm in college, so I can't exactly do anything. But
You can't do anything.
yeah, I know. Why do
Well,
I
hold
even
on,
hang
hold
out
on.
with-
You did
Why do I hang out with you?
think you're right here, so therefore you did do some.
Oh well, at least I'm doing something, but I'm not getting paid for it.
Yeah, I know. You're not doing anything productive. Yes.
Yeah, I'm
agree with
gonna starve to death because Davis doesn't pay me. I guess I'm watching a lot of mecha shows this year. I might do something with that. I help Davis, so you don't have to. He has something that he's working on that I helped work on. I don't know when he's gonna do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that.
It's Dimos, by the way. I still need to do that Dimos
He's really excited. He's really excited to work on it. If I guess I'll do I have permission to mention Gundam? Do I have permission?
Hold off on that for now.
Hold on. You did not say
Davis
the
will
G
never
word,
do a
did
G
you?
Quox video. He hates that show. There you go. There's your formal announcement. This actually isn't the thing that I was thinking about. This is called
Gaslighting.
red tape and censorship.
Gaslighting.
Yeah, gaslighting.
And gatekeeping.
But if yes, that's about it. I write. I used to write sometimes. I might write again. Heaven forbid, I might make Wikizilla mad at me. Godzilla vs. the Devil is real.
Yes, it is.
Wikizilla tried to silence me, but it's in print now, motherfuckers.
All right, so if you're already here, I mean, you already know how to find me. So part 1.5 of the live action Attack on Titan retrospective is ready to go. It'll be up after this weekend. Part 2 of that will be coming soon. There will be a full in-depth analysis on
I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean?
on both movies as well as the miniseries. This guy down here is really working on as well.
No, what do you mean? There was no part 2.
Oh, thank God we're not that guy.
I'm also a writer for Kaiju United, Soccer Essential, and also myself. Given that I straight up announced the release window for the second Titanius book, all the more reason to go and get the first one right now. See, Tony's got one.
Yes, this is better than any Scientology book I have received.
Like I said, Titanius is real good, guys. This is a great read.
And I think that just about does it.
Yeah.
Well, that's the end. Take it easy, everyone.
Bye.
Tune in next time.
Congratulations!
Congratulations.
Book 2.